Hey everybody, how are ya? A little late, a little too much things to do at the same time, but here we are, finally live. Hope everybody is going to enjoy today's show. Everything looks good. This looks fine. CPU load at 60%, that's perfect. Welcome everybody. Let's open a beer. And this is the Shortwave Show. We are Friday, 2000 hours UTC is the time when we talk about radio. Of course, this time we talk about the radio. And I get myself a little beer. There we go. Mr. Paul the cat is right next to me, wondering what I'm doing, why I'm talking to myself. Wanna come? Come on. Honey. So welcome aboard. This is the Shortwave Show. We are here every Friday, 2000 hours Universal Time, and we talk about radio. We tune the bands, and we answer questions, and we just have plain fun. And of course, my co-host, Eddie. My co-host is here, and he's wondering, should I not? Come on. It's funny, I always end at the beginning of the show lately. Come on. You tried once. Come on. And here we go. Mr. Cat is here. So here's Mr. Paul for those that prefer to see the cat. Mr. Paul saying hi to everybody. And he's been very cuddly today 3 times. Usually, he walks around and says hello, but today he's, I don't know. So anyways, this is the Shortwave Show, and this is my co-host, Paul the Cat, or DX, for those that remember the first time he showed up. And we are here to entertain. Of course, we're here every Fridays at 2000 hours Universal Time, and hope that you will have fun with us today. This is a show about radio. We talk about pretty much everything radio, shortwave, long wave, medium wave. We have a show for VHF, UHF, if that's what you want to have. That one will be December 29th, I believe. For a simple reason, next Saturday is a special Christmas show. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later. It's going to be a little shorter than usual, but it's going to be a interesting location. And I've got basically the Helps and Santa on my side for that one, so pretty cool. So hope that you have fun. Of course, we are going to tune the radio. This is my SDR Play RSP1A. And there's a nice chat room for those that want to join in. Great people that are here and will answer your questions. And just, really amazing people. Hello there, Matambali from Colorado, USA. Bobby Burgess from WA5107 SWL, his shortwave call sign from Morgan City, Louisiana. We have Richard Cook. Good evening. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Mark Cope. Nice to have you here. Yeah, 11965 is Madagascar relay of African Pathways Radio. 11965. Let's try it out here. 11965. Pretty good signal here.
What's your name? Tell him about problems that come up in the hall. He used to be in a call.
Pretty good signal from African Pathways Radio, 11965. Mark Cope, nice to have you on board in Dallas. What do we have? Bullfrog 89, nice to have you here. KD2CXU from Albany, New York. Hope you are well also. And speaking up, Radio Nacional Amazonia 6180, which has been mixing up with China Radio in the evening. Both are on the same frequency. What else do we have? Let's go down the list. Elton Byington, nice to have you here. K3JWA in Baltimore. Jack N9IIF, nice to have you on board, my friend. We have Max Edstrong, nice to have you on board. And greetings, of course, for all radio lovers. Absolutely. 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 We have Matt, MDK2, nice to have you on board. Getting multiple signals on 9690, but Radio Exterior España is winning. Pretty cool. David in Barcelona, nice to have you on board as usual. Waiting for the star. Mike DX, nice to have you here. Supper's on. Cool. Bullfrog 89 picking up Voice of Turkey down in the noise. Below 30 megahertz, nice to have you here from Valencia, Spain. And it's nice to have you here. Nice to see you missed the show when you didn't see it. We had an amazing show last week on Saturday with chasing signals from HARP in Alaska. That was a lot of fun. Cheers, everybody. Rough Tough McLeod, nice to have you here from Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia. Nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. Pretty cool. And yes, I saw that, David, on Twitter. He's now a owner of a ICOM IC7100 transceiver. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And it's a non-working day in Spain. Cool. Hey, Sheldon Harvey, nice to have you here from Greenfield Park, Quebec. And by the way, for those that are subscribed, there's the new Canadian International DS Club bulletin for December's out. Check that out. Sakura DX, nice to have you on board from Japan. Early morning Japan. Pretty cool to have everybody here. Pretty cool to have everybody here. Let's go down a little bit more. We have Tory Boy, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Revelda 65, nice to have you on board. And a great Friday, absolutely, for everybody. And for many of you, thank God it's Friday. PLF Radio, bonjour et bienvenue de la France. Toujours un plaisir de vous avoir parmi nous. Always nice to have you here, PLF Radio. And Bullfrog says, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. Oh, God. I wonder if in 100 years anybody will remember something about me. I wonder if in 100 years YouTube videos are still going to be online somehow. Maybe some old, you know, some young guy from the year 2118 or he's going to look at this and say, what was that? Jerry DX, nice to have you on board, my friend. William Helms, nice to have you here from Florida. Pretty cool. Alvin Chipmunk, nice to have you here. Mike Hanna 261, nice to have you here. 2 minutes late is not okay. I was looking at the time, it was like 58, and half of what I need to do just to get online was still not done. So I had to authenticate, I had to do like tons of things. I was busy doing something, and you know, sometimes you think it's like 5 minutes, and you look and you're like, whoa, I've been doing this for half an hour. Okay, time to do a live show. Kimberly K6YYL in California, nice to have you here. Danny Shortwave Radio DX from Yonkers, New York, nice to have you here. Dexpar74 from Germany, nice to have you on board. OSM 2510, cheers, nice to have you here. Sakura DX says, today, a few hours later, I will move to the ship and another onboard live is starting. Cool. Andrew Ross, nice to have you on board. Rock Ristorante, Risto, nice to have you here. SM0SBT from Stockholm, Sweden. Radio Telescope, hey there, nice to have you here. Ashley Borman, nice to have you on board. Steve in Australia, nice to have you on board, my friend. Mark Fisher from Southern Illinois. Nice to have you here, Mark. Simon Templar, nice to have you on board. I petted my cat for everybody, so there's at least one pet that was for each and every one of you in the chat room. Vancouver Island DXer, nice to have you on board. And says, this has been a good week for me because I met with a few technically oriented local radio hobbyists. That's always a lot of fun. Meeting other radio fans. Capital City and Professionals, nice to have you on board. Says, my SDR quit working. I'm wondering if you or anyone in the chat would have an extra they would be willing to donate to me. It would be appreciated. Anybody have something? What else do we have? Richard Cook says, BPM, China, time signal on 5,000, not too bad. Andrew Ross, following on your suggestions and others' advice, I have narrowed down my replacement radio to either a Texan PL 660, 680. 50 pounds more is a lot. It's not better enough, I would say, to be worth 50 pounds more than the 660. So you would actually have a great radio in the PL 660 and take that 50 pounds and I don't know, buy a wire or something to have some extra antenna outside or something. I think that's going to be better. The 680 is not, I would say it's not of a improvement over the 660 enough to be worth 50 pounds. Honestly, I don't think so. So, what else do we have? Ashley Borman says, I'm 14 into radio, medium wave especially. There are so many stations in Maidstone, England. Cool. 14 and into radio. That's nice. That's nice. Ken Stark, nice to have you on board. First time, W4KJS. Nice to have you here, my friend. Pretty cool. In North Carolina. Really nice. Zachary Antle, nice to have you on board. Yes, I did get a haircut this week. That's nice. New profile pic. Great uncle from Norway. Wow. Jason Pongratz, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Vodka and juice here. Cool, Mike DX. Cheers, everybody. Vatican Radio English, 7365. Let's check it out. 7365. Yeah, there's something, but it's not very strong right now. It's usually stronger than that, and I think I need to remove this. I'll do two things here, because I didn't realize, but my phone is here. And I know that this is better unplugged. So I will actually do this because I'll have less interference on my radio if I do that. So what else do we have? Frédéric, bonjour, F4ECA. Nice to have you here from France. What else do we have? Richard Cook says Romania is on 7375, but over splattering audio. 7375. Oops. Let's go here. 7375. And that's pretty good. There's something on 7380 that's splattering on it too. Something on 7380 that's creating interference. Pretty cool. David says, well, the first ever video on YouTube is still online and is more than a decade old, so who knows? Yeah, I would guess. Who knows? Radiocoms, nice to have you on board, Jerry, Northern Ireland. Pretty cool to have you here. Very strong, 7375 says PLF Radio. So nice. Don Stefano, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Reynold Kluntz, nice to have you on board from Northeast Illinois. Danny Shortwave and Radio DX. YouTube in 100 years will be in a time capsule in some spaceship for extraterrestrial life to come across and watch our videos. Some extraterrestrial from another planet will see me talking for 4 hours about something that's nonsense. Tony Perron, nice to have you here. Drizzle and 39 Fahrenheit in Memphis. Cool, Andrew. Yeah, I don't think the difference between the 660 and 680 is enough to be worth 50 pounds more. Eric Cottrell, nice to have you on board. There's a lot of snow on the ground in Montreal. I usually let my hair grow during the winter. Yeah, I let it grow, but now it was already long, so if I let it grow more, I'd look like some kind of, I don't know, some kind of old cavern man or something. There's, I would say, about maybe 3 or 4 inches on the ground. We don't have that much snow. There's snow, it's white everywhere, but we don't have that much snow, actually. You know, a couple of days of warm weather and it would easily melt all. And actually, that might be the case. They were saying that late next week, temperatures are going to rise, and somebody in the Weather Channel was mentioning that it's not impossible that we'll actually have a green Christmas if things continue the way that they think it's going to go. Raymond Challoner, nice to have you here. Says very strong signals on all bands tonight in Yorkshire. So pretty good. Pretty good. It's always fun to listen. And I listened quite a lot this week. I had a lot of fun listening this week. Ham Radio Crash Course. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Sheldon Arby says Pearl Harbor Day Special Event Station Amateur call sign NI6BB on 14244. Let's check that out. 14244 upper sideband. Do we hear that special event station? I'll leave it. Leave the volume down. There's something on 14220 that I could really see very well. I'll leave it there just to see if 14244 has anything here. Paul Knight, nice to have you on board. Tuned in for the first time. Welcome aboard. Where are you from, Paul? Let us know. Capital City and Professionals. Tested my general license the other day. Got 18 out of 35. Close, but no cigar. Wish me luck. Testing again in January 12th. You can do it. You can do it. And I know you're going to get it on January. Morrison AV, nice to have you on board from Florida. Paul Knight, thinking of buying a PL880. Is it worth it? It's a very nice radio, absolutely. If you got the money for it, you will have an amazing radio on the Texan PL880. Absolutely. What else do we have? What else do we have? Richard Cook's got CHU pretty good on 7850. Kimberly K6YL says we had just over 4 inches of rain and just over 3 inches of rain a couple of weeks before that. So we had 7 inches of rain the last 2 weeks, which is amazing. Wow. Matt has 14244 in Denver. I hear something weak talking in the background, but it's not strong here. Lou Rubens, nice to have you here. KJ3LR in West Central Florida. Pretty cool. Max Armstrong loves this PL880. Bobby Burgess says 20 meters hot today. Pretty cool. Bullfrog picking up station strong on 96.90. Don't know the station. If it's in Spanish, it's Radio Exterior de España. And chances are it's Spain that you've got. I'm going to go 96.90. Yeah, that is definitely Spain right now. But there is something else with it. I do hear something else with it, but the main signal in Spanish is Radio Exterior de España. Tony Perron says the PL880 is great. He agrees. Cool. Donald Hosmer, nice to have you here. For portable, I like the XH Data D808. Compares well with the PL880. And available on eBay for about $122 shipped. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, some are nuts with the shipping costs. Completely nuts. You got to be careful on eBay for that. Really, really difficult. Michael Fuka, nice to have you here. Says, heard we could be hit with extreme solar flare yesterday and today. No, actually no. You know, these websites and these places that always talk about extreme solar flares and stuff. The only thing that happened this week that could have happened, and it actually didn't, there was a solar filament early this week that snapped on the sun. On the videos, you could see that it actually sent out a coronal mass ejection cloud of plasma. Nothing extreme. It was just a little cloud of plasma. It would have barely done more than, create a geomagnetic storm of 1 or 2 level, and not much more than that. And it actually didn't even touch our planet. The main suspect for the weekend that might degrade our propagation is actually solar wind coming from a really big coronal hole on the sun. And that might play some, tricks on us. But apart from that, nothing extreme. I get these things pass by all the time on many websites. They start talking about, oh, well, there's going to be this extreme solar flare and whatever. So, no, there's not. No, there's not. There's a nice little sunspot that's already getting out of the way because it's moving out of the solar disk's rotation. But let's hope that things are at least good, for the weekend. So Bullfrog Nice says definitely Spanish, and that's Radio Exterior España, which will be, I don't know if the propagation will let us listen to it today, but at 2300 hours UTC today is going to be in English. Remember that. Richard Cook's got Pyongyang very weak on 9665. Paul Knight, I've been into shortwave for many years and am a ham radio operator for 15 years. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Joseph Ivankovich, nice to have you here. KE8IBN, nice to have you here. Yeah, that's also nice. PL880 that comes with 2 lithium batteries that are rechargeable, I believe. Oh, Paul Knight is from Salamanca, New York. Nice to have you here. What else do we have? No problem, Michael. It's funny because I get this all the time. There's this, it's funny because everybody's tuned to that space weather lady. Everybody's watching that, I guess, because there's a lady giving the space weather more than anything else. I sometimes have the impression that there are a few guys out there that are watching the space weather woman rather than the space weather itself. But I've seen so often, there's always also something that you got to be careful. One of the major problems of social media, of the internet, is the fact that there are sometimes these recurring articles of 8 years ago that come back, and people don't look at the dates, and they're like, oh wow, we're going to be hit by a major destructive solar flare or something. And you look at it, and it's a story from like 9 years ago, and I don't know why every time there's a solar flare, there's a coronal mass ejection, it's always extreme. Everybody just puts it to the extreme. We're all going to die tomorrow or something. And it makes me laugh every time because, yes, the sun can really punch amazing power if it wants to. But no, 99% of everything is rather, mundane and very quiet, actually. And so we got to be careful with that. And that's why I started doing these little two times a week, this weather, space weather and radio propagation. And my kind of down-to-earth explanation time of, let's not go nuts. This is nothing crazy and nothing amazing. Let's just take it easy, guys, But it's always funny when I see, these articles or people sharing stuff, and it's like, yeah, we're all going to die tomorrow. Okay, cool. I hope I'm listening to shortwave at least. Johnny DXer, nice to have you on board. Sean Fahey, nice to have you here. Classical music on 9600. Do I hear something on 9600 over here? Something very, very, very weak, but can't really make what's in it. What else do we have? Oh, Donald Hosmer says the PL880 uses only one lithium. S880 uses 8800 uses two of them. Yeah, Mike DX. Oh no, absolutely. She is very knowledgeable. Absolutely. That I'm not saying she's not, but some people I think are just getting too hyped up. Ronald Hester says, nice to have you here, Ron, in Terman, North Carolina, USA. Started shortwave listening in 1962. The glory years of shortwave. Listening to the radio I use is a ICOM R71A, great radio, and he's got a G5 RV on a tower 30 feet. Pretty cool. Yes, life is strong and fatal, absolutely. Oh, let's check that out. David says I got an email with his shack. We're going to check that out. Oh, yeah, look at that. There's definitely a little something here. So let's check that out. 2 pictures. So here is... I don't know if I can do this. Okay, here it goes. So let's show the shack here. Just gonna make this a little brighter. Maybe it's gonna help out for you guys. So here is Mr. David Shack, and of course the famous icon there. Pretty nice little radio. Nice to see the shacks. Everybody's shacks. Pretty cool. Trusty icon here. Nice to see everybody's little heaven on earth. Pretty cool. Thanks for sharing. Michael Fuka says, heard Soho satellite is outdated, hoping to get funding for new sats with extended warning signs. Yeah, it's been there. Soho has been there for a long time, and Soho has actually completely revolutionized the way that we see the sun. And basically, it's still functioning, but it's actually healing. It's slowly dying. Basically, it's getting more and more technical difficulties. The problem is, I was reading an article about one of the solar observatories that's supposed to be put in space to replace it. Problem is, they're having NASA is having a tough time getting funding, and there's like just so many anti-science people right now that it's like it's creating a problem for all of this funding. People saying, well, why should we spend $1 billion on a satellite to observe the sun? Yeah, well, I think it's a good idea, because it's the more we know about the sun and about our universe, the better it is. Yeah, SDR Uno. I like it. I actually love SDR Uno as the software. It's my go-to software now with the SDR Play RSP1A. Life is hazardous to your health. Yep, Natambali. Well, we kind of all die at the end, so I mean, it means that there's something that's complicated here. AP2FLY, nice to have you on board from Pakistan. Really nice. Nice. Tony Perron, we are in the Maunder minimum. No, we're not necessarily in a Maunder minimum, but we're in a period of low solar activity. And we gotta be careful, because we still don't know that much about the solar, our own sun. And even though technically, there's a lot of the predictions for the next solar cycle is that it ain't going to be really better than the one that we just had. But there are still some people saying, no, predictions are wrong. It's going to be a big one. I don't know. We'll see when it arrives. But for now, we're in the solar minimum, which is a regular solar minimum. We've started to see a couple of spots from solar cycle 25, because we are still in solar cycle 24. And we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen, and if the sun is actually going to wake up at some point. Tony Perron says Texan gives a spare lithium battery with the 880. That's very good. A good idea, actually. Paul Knight, would you think by now all of the 880s would have the newest firmware? I hope. I would guess, but you know what? You got to be careful, because when you buy them, it's something that is not always easy to spot. Sometimes the seller isn't really telling anything. But I would hope, if you buy from Anon Co., which is one of the big shortwave radio sellers on eBay, you probably will have the latest. And I would guess that Amazon, for example, would have the latest. I don't know where you're buying it, actually. What else do we have? Johnny DXing says, icons are great radios. Absolutely. Michael Fuga, by the way, Merry Christmas to all Shortwave associates. Yes, absolutely. And talking about that, next Saturday, December the 15th. Mark that on your calendar. I will be in a undisclosed location. You guys will see on Saturday. And it's the Christmas show. It will be shorter than usual, because I will do 2 shows next Saturday. We're going to start off at 2000 hours Universal Time with a shortwave show on this channel. It will be 90 minutes long, so we'll go from 20 to 21:30. And the reason why is because I want to do a show on the Windows channel also, and because I only have one day at that location, I will do it on the same day. I will do 2 shows on the same day. So here will be 20 to 21:30. There will be no radios and no listening, because over there won't be any radios. But we are going to be very Christmassy. And then we have a 1-hour pause. And those that follow me on my Windows and computer channel, the tech channel, there will be a 1.5 hours, roughly, same time, 90-minute show on the tech channel, and that one will be at 22:30 UTC. We're going to take a 1-hour break to set up for the next show, and we'll be there. So we'll have 2 shows. We'll be with my nephew Gabriel. So some of you know who he is. For those that don't, well, Gabriel is my nephew. We did some shows together. We did a show called From the Couch for roughly about a year, something like that. And he was on the Shortwave show a couple of times, tuning in in the couch and with portable radios and being a newbie in the Shortwave hobby. So he's going to be there, and actually it's thanks to him that we will be in a very special place next Saturday. So mark your calendars. 2000 hours Universal Time to 21:30, 90-minute show for Christmas for the Shortwave channel. And what I would like to have is feedback from you guys. Anybody have a story, any kind of story that might be radio related, that has to do with maybe Christmas, New Year? Why not share that memory with us? I'll be sharing a couple of memories that I've probably shared many times with you guys, but I'm going to share quite a few memories from Shortwave past. That's Christmas and New Year. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's really, really nice. And hope that you guys are going to enjoy the show. So Saturday, December 15th, Saturday next week, special Christmas show. And for those that want to keep in the spirit of Christmas, we'll be doing another show on the Tech Channel, that one at 22:30. And we're going to take a 1 hour break to eat because we're going to drink on the first show, which means we might already be kind of a little bit drunk on the second show. So we're going to take that 1 hour to eat and take it easy to be able to go through the second show. Anyways, I think you guys are going to enjoy the very cool place we've chosen for the Christmas show. All I can say is very Christmassy. It's perfect for the Christmas ambiance. I think it's going to be great. Jason Pongrat, PLF Radio first. I didn't drop totally HDSDR. Actually, I will use HDSDR for the ephedry when I turn on the ephedry, and I haven't turned on the ephedry since I had the RSP1A. So I will be using HDSDR with the ephedry, and I will be using SDR Uno with the RSP1A. But if I would be able to have the ephedry work on SDR Uno, I don't know if I would go back to HDSDR, honestly. Anyways, I'll go back with the ephedry and HDSDR. Sometimes, you use a software for a while, then you come back, and then you suddenly notice that, oh, you know what, maybe I missed that piece of software, One of the things that also I got to be careful here is I like SDR Uno, but also at the same time, it's a brand new, it's a new interface, new look, new feel. Sometimes it feels good to have that new feel of a software or something that you're using. It's like, I've always told everybody that, because people always tell me, you've got tons and tons of wallpapers in Windows. And they're all saying, wow, you got so many different pictures. And it's like painting your home. It's kind of cool to, move things around and use different colors. It gives you the feel of kind of living in some new spot. Well, the same thing for the computer. My background pictures change because it feels different. And the software for the same thing here. Jason Pongrat says, what do you think of SpaceX and Elon Musk? I think Elon Musk is an idiot, but at the same time, SpaceX is amazing. I think Elon Musk, I don't know, he needs to grow up. Let's call it like that. He needs to grow up. I mean, the guy is obviously a genius with many things that he's started, with Tesla and everything, but he needs to grow up. But apart from that, SpaceX is an amazing thing. I do follow a lot of the SpaceX stuff, and maybe that's the future. That's where the future of space exploration is all about. There are different things. I do not want NASA to go away. NASA has a very unique expertise, and it has an amazing team. And I think NASA is still needed. I think it's important. It's important not to have everything just, I think, in the private sphere. I mean, having a public or a government-owned agency, I think, is a nice thing also. But SpaceX is amazing. But I think Elon Musk needs to grow up. Let's say that. He just needs to grow up. I mean, come on. The time that he was on and he smoked a joint live. I mean, okay. And NASA didn't like that, actually. It was not a beautiful image, Frederick says 7780. Shortwave radiogram. Yeah, it's... let's try it out here. Oh, yeah, it's coming in. So there's some digital modes going on 7780. Usually starts in MFSK32, the shortwave radiogram by Kim Andrew Elliott. Always nice to tune around. Richard Cook says 7780 strong. DJK Solo, nice to have you here. Hey, nice to have you here, Tam. And says, please don't take this the wrong way, but you rate the tuner side of your Yaesu as good one. Do you rate the tuner side of my Yaesu as a good one? Well, yeah, the Yaesu FT450 I got here is pretty good. It's pretty good. I still need to play around. It has some little things that are a little annoying audio-wise, I would say, because it has a DSP in it. But, you know, I haven't yet fully... I mean, the manual is just crazy complex. There's so many things in that radio. It's like 100 times more complicated than the ICOM ICR8500 to use. But it seems to be pretty good. Seems to be pretty good. David says CRI English S9 plus 20 on his ICR 7100. Meanwhile, and simultaneously monitoring signals on the local airband on the ICOM R8500. Pure luxury. It is cool, absolutely. I was doing something like that the other day. I had the SDR RSP18 tuned to shortwave. I had the FT450 tuned to a ham band, listening to hams, and I had the ICOM on a VHF frequency, listening into the local police. So it's kind of interesting. Department of Defense, nice to have you here. Bobby Burgess, going to the tech side for a bit. Can you please clarify the rumors that Google Hangouts shutting down and other messaging services? Yes, Google Hangouts is shutting down in 2019, sometime in 2019. There is going to be a side of Hangouts. It's going to be kind of called Chat, Google Chat, which is the enterprise side of Hangouts that will be moved for everybody. But the Google Hangouts are being shut down sometime in 2019. They are shutting down also Google Hello, which is the equivalent of Facebook Messenger for Google, if you want. But they are going to keep other messaging apps in service. And this is not a Google Hangout. This is a YouTube stream. I used to do Google Hangouts that would then put the video on the YouTube channel. But in Canada, Google Hangouts for video was removed, and I was forced to go to YouTube live stream sometime last year, a year and a half ago maybe. I don't remember when I switched from Google Hangouts to this live stream, the YouTube live stream. And honestly, I kind of like this live stream, YouTube live stream much better. There's more interesting stuff, and there's tons of, if I go into the settings here, there's tons of information about all sorts of, data of my YouTube channel and the number of viewers and the maximum number of viewers and the time watch. I can go in and see the time watch by everybody, tell you, oh, well, you watched the show for 68 minutes. Things like that is crazy, all the data that YouTube Live actually has compared to Google Hangouts that had kind of a minimum, honestly. So I'm happier here, and this is YouTube Live. This is not Google Hangouts. And somebody asked me the other day what am I using to, if I was using Chrome to do live shows. No, I'm not, because it doesn't have all the settings and all the things that I would like to have, because you can actually go to I just looked at MFSK32 in the chat and I just got diverted in what I was saying. So there's a lot of statistics and stuff, and anyways, it's just great to use YouTube Live. Oh yeah, I'm using Wirecast. That's what I was saying. So the software I'm using is Wirecast, because Google Chrome, you can actually do a YouTube live stream directly from Google Chrome if you want, in any PC. But it doesn't have enough settings. I can't tweak anything. It's like a set of settings that are here, and that's all you got. Where on Wirecast I have a really big chunk of different settings that I can play with. So I'm using Wirecast because for now I find that better. I tried OBS Studio for streaming, which was not a very good success on this machine. So I went back to Wirecast for now. What else do we have? PLF radio. So what is the type of signal shortwave radiogram I hear on 7780? Is it decodable? Yep, it's a actually shortwave radiogram is actually Kim Andrew Elliott from the Voice of America. He puts this up every week. There are several hearings of the radiogram during the weekend. It is made for the general shortwave hobby. So to decode it, you need FLDG software. And the signal that is in there, it always starts in MFSK32. And actually, if you go to shortwaveradiogram.com, is it .com? I would never remember .org.com, but I think it's shortwave radiogram. Shortwaveradiogram.com. .org, SW radiogram, something like that. Radiogram. Let me just go back here. So it's SW. Okay, it's swradiogram.net. swradiogram.net, and I'll put the link in the chat if anybody didn't do it yet. This is where you get the schedule, and that's where you will also know what modes they use. So for example, here they're saying shortwave radiogram for December 7th and 9th, digital modes. So there's going to be MFSK, MFSK 6032 for starters. It's always MFSK 32 for starters, by the way. Then they switch to MFSK 64. Then they're back at MFSK 32. So, and sometimes they use all sorts of weird modes. They send pictures. It's a great thing to try to decode. It's a lot of fun to decode this and play with this. The shortwave radiogram, I haven't decoded in a little while, but I always have a lot of fun decoding the shortwave radiogram personally. So check it out. All you have to do is FLDG and follow the modes. And if you don't follow the modes manually, there's a way to set up FLDG, and it will get the header information from shortwave radiogram. You can technically have FLDG automatically switch modes by using that signal. So 7780, and there are more airings during the weekend, so check the schedules and check it out. It's a lot of fun. Honestly, it's a lot of fun. Rock Ristorante says Voice of America from Botswana, 6195. Let's check it out. 6195. Yep.
I'm working on the production part of it. Me and my manager, John Cooper, we've been
pretty good signal from Botswana. Voice of America.
We get everything we need, and I definitely am planning on releasing it, but I want to wait for next year. And I actually want to go back where I started, where everything all started. Where that really was starting at that rock. Yeah.
So 6195. Voice of America in English from Botswana, pretty good. Richard Cook's got talking on 6195. Johnny DXer getting home from work. Cool. Have a safe ride home. Safe ride home. What else do we have? Matambali's got Voice of America 11850 from Botswana. 11850. Let's try 11850. Anything here on 11850? There is something on 11850. Definitely. And why is my phone buzzing? Sorry, guys. So, Dexpar says, I don't like HDSDR. The S meter is inaccurate. Yeah, but you can actually you can actually tweak it to make it accurate if you want. It's all in the settings. You can play with it in HDSDR. I always thought in HDSDR it's a little generous, honestly. Madame Bali, genius, idiot, genius, idiot savant. Yeah, pretty much. And he needs, I think he just needs to grow up. He needs to grow up. Michael Fuka says, in 1964, I started out with a Heathkit GR64 and long wire external antenna. Received Pravda newspaper from Moscow. Music from Czechoslovakia, QSL, Radio Turkey, Radio South Africa, Algeria. Man, you know what? I was thinking about this the other day. The first night that I set up, because I always told the story. My first real shortwave radio that I knew what shortwave was all about because of the manual was my realistic DX100. And I set it up. I got that maybe mid-afternoon, like early afternoon in August. I don't remember what specific date in August, but I remember it was August of 1982. And I was thinking, because the first evening, because in the afternoon I wasn't impressed, there wasn't that much. But as we were progressing towards late afternoon and evening, now there are tons of signals there. And I was thinking, well, what could I've heard on the first day ever of my shortwave listening on the DX100? One that I do remember was hearing Call Israel, Voice of Israel, in English. They had a evening broadcast to North America in '82. I remember that. I remember tuning a lot of different weird signals. I remember hearing a lot of different things and just being amazed. I remember the first couple of weeks, I was going nuts. There were so many things to listen to. But I definitely do remember that the first evening, and one of the first signals that I tuned in with an ID that was clear enough was Call Israel, the Voice of Israel, in English. I remember with a very good signal. So I remember that, but I don't remember. I'd like to go back. It'd be fun sometimes to go back in time and see what I was tuning, on that evening. I remember I tuned that radio all evening. I was totally amazed at what it could do. And at first, I was only with the little telescopic antenna. It's after maybe a couple of days, while reading the manual, they were suggesting that you could put a wire antenna, and they were talking about external antennas. That's where I put a week later, I put maybe a 20 feet piece of wire attached to the telescopic. And I remember that's what brought me one evening tuning around Radio Australia. And to show you that the propagation was pretty good back in '82, I could hear Radio Australia in the evening really well on 21740, which was their main frequency they were using all evening back then. And wow, these are amazing souvenirs. Oh, man. Michael Fuka, Voice of Vietnam, Radio Bulgaria, China Radio. My mother was awestruck because I was getting mail from all over the world. Oh man, I was telling Sheldon a funny thing. When in 1987 there was a postal strike here in Canada, and they were hiring scabs. They were hiring people that were willing to go and work, and I was 17 years old at the time. And I remember me and my best friend, we thought, hey, let's give our names and go work for the post office. And it was crazy because it's like they were bringing us in with buses and there were like, you know, guards, because the real postal workers were mad at the fact that people were actually going to work while they were on strike. And basically we didn't do anything because it was impossible. But it made me see that area where all the mail for where, you know, the place where I lived before was received. And everybody had a small box. I remember, because they were little boxes. And everybody had a small box. In 87, I was receiving so much mail that my box was about 4 times bigger than anybody else's box. And I remember, well, okay, they decided, well, that guy needs a big box now because he's getting a lot of mail. I remember it struck me that my box was 4 times bigger than everybody else's because of all the things I would receive from everywhere. Richard Cook says, China National Radio strong on 4800. Bullfrog 89 thought Google Hangouts was already gone. No, it's still there, but it never picked up really. Never picked up really any steam. Google Circles. I don't think Google Circles is still the thing. I don't think so. Or if it is, nobody's talking about it. Department of Defense recent Falcon 9 launch apparently included toaster oven-sized satellites by a company called Hawkeye 360, which will scan for pirate stations and radio comms of ships that have gone dark at sea. I know that the recent launch launched 64 cube-sized satellites, which was amazing. I mean, you know, we used to send 1 satellite at a time, and now we're sending 64 of them at a time. It's just nuts. Just nuts. And I know that when it came back, it didn't work well, I think. That's the one or one of them didn't work well this week. Instead of coming down on its platform, it actually got lost at sea. DJK Solo says, I watched the live Joe Rogan podcast when he smoked that bone. Yeah, I don't know. It needs more maturity. Let's say that. DK2 says, you've been on YouTube since at least 2016. That's when I started watching live videos. I've been doing live shows. The first live show was in 2014, I believe, if not 2013. Which were short and experimental from my kitchen. I remember, from my kitchen, using my laptop's webcam, which is dreadfully horrible. Then when I started getting more serious, then I purchased that Logitech C920, which is a much better cam. And man, I've been. It's you know, time flies. There was this lady that follows me and been following me for a long time. She was mentioning how far I've come over all these years of doing live shows and doing videos, and you know, it's like just crazy when you think about it. And you know, in one thing, there's a friend of mine that's started to do some YouTube stuff, you know, because he admires what I do, and he thought, well, you know, I want to do the same thing. I want to try to do what you do. And you know, anybody that tells me, I want to do a YouTube channel, I always say, go at it. And the first thing that I always will say to anybody that will start, you know, if you want to start a shortwave or a radio or amateur radio channel, first, don't listen to all the things that people say, because people will tell you, well, there's already tons of amateur channels out there. Who cares? You can do one. Who cares? But the first reason you should do a YouTube channel is to have fun making videos and talking about what you like. That's the first thing. That's the first rule. That's why the first channel I've ever created was a radio channel, because that's one of my first loves as a hobby. And one of the first things that for me was, hey, I need to do that is a radio channel. and I started with a shortwave channel. And when I started, there was no monetization here in Canada. It was not still available here in Canada. The US already had it, but in Canada it did not exist. I didn't do that for money. I did it for fun. And when monetization came through, of course, I started looking at monetization and thinking, what if it could be possible to make a living off of it? But I was doing tech jobs a lot back then. So in spare time, I would, create videos and post them online and get people. And then I started buying tons of little radios and doing reviews. And my circle of viewers started growing. Number of, subscribers started growing. I was looking the other day. I think we're at 15,000 subscribers on this channel right now, which is not too bad if you consider that it's a shortwave dedicated channel. Getting 15,000 subs isn't bad at all. I mean, it's not like on my tech channel, which has 54,000 subscribers. I'm halfway between the 100,000 sub now, which is a magic number on YouTube, by the way. 100,000 subscribers opens YouTube channels to more possibilities. And my tech channel is growing by about 4,000 subscribers per month right now. It's growing really, really fast compared to a year ago, and faster all the time. Here I remember 600 or 700 new subscribers every month. I think was the last number I saw on this shortwave channel. So anyways, start by having fun. Don't expect anything in return, but post the stuff you love. And you know what? Who knows? Who knows one day what's going to happen, And create your own thing. I mean, what's unique here on this channel, because I mean, there are tons of channels with people posting, reception of stations. I have a lot of them on the channel, and I kind of use this channel a little bit as a logbook. So if I tune in a station a specific day, I'll post a video of it. I've had so many people over time telling me, "Why do you post these? It's boring." It's like, well, if it's boring, look somewhere else. There are other channels. Let me do what I want to do on my channel and just, shut the hell up. Go annoy somebody else, And basically, of course, there were a lot of radio reviews. And if I have new radios, I have reviews. And in a couple of days, I'll be posting the RSP-1A review that I will have. I'll probably post a review of the Yaesu FT450. But I need to use it a little more to really have that coming. But what's very specifically unique of this channel is the live shows that I do. I mean, these are, I think, the foundation of my channel. If you take the videos of radio reviews and stuff, the basics of my channel have moved into doing and creating live shows that have everybody in the radio hobby together, and we're a bunch of people that love radio, that just love being together with radio. And I think this channel has become that. The event on this channel is the live shows that I do. They're actually the most popular videos. There are, of course, some review. There are a few. Some of the most popular videos I've got have passed the 100,000 view mark on this channel. That some of them are learning, tips on shortwave. Some of them are, kind of shortwave radio 101 videos, antenna videos, stuff like that. There are some radio reviews that are very popular also. But right now, what's really driving my channel here is the live shows. It's really driving the popularity of this channel a lot. So, but just start by having fun, okay? And who knows what's going to happen. There's all sorts of new rules and regulations now. So, Michael Fuka says the 70s and 80s were a golden age. Shortwave surely miss those days. I think anybody that listened to shortwave, and I started in '82. Of course, I was already in that period with a slow decline coming, but I was still in that period where there was tons and tons of shortwave radio stations out there, which was amazing times. Ray Kelly, nice to have you on board from snowy Nova Scotia. Here it's darn cold Montreal, and we're going down to like -18 tonight. So it's going to be 0 Fahrenheit tonight in Montreal. Really cold. Bobby Burgess, I've seen different months. I think there's not a set official date, but it will be in 2019, that's for sure, for the Hangout shutdown. Arga Chateau, sorry, nice to have you here, Arga. EO7 on 4760 says Richard Cook, which is number station. Yeah, .net. That's it. Sheldon says, I'm operator from Rwanda, 9X9PJ on 14200. Well, we don't hear Rwanda that often on the amateur band. 14200 upper sideband. I hear something. We'll see if I can hear an ID of some sort. So Rwanda, that's not something we hear very often. Going down. Slowly. Welcome back, Sakura DX. Shortwave frequency channel. Nice to have you on board. Bienvenue. Really nice. Yeah, we don't hear that many stations. You know, what I hear mostly on the ham bands from Africa is either Morocco, Algeria, South Africa. These have been pretty much all the hams that I've heard from Africa most of the time. For sure. David says, I can already say that the IC 7100 transceiver is a great general coverage receiver, just for shortwave use. So pretty nice. Pretty nice. It's amazing. Mike DX at 6195 from Botswana, Voice of America. That's nice and noisy. Theo, nice to have you on board, my friend. I'm hearing somebody on 14200. Brett Wayne, KC2NXP in Salamanca, New York. Nice to have you here, Brett. Pretty cool. Matambali says, I can't find my old logs from the early 70s. I kept that log faithfully. I got packed away in a move and I haven't seen it since. I have a couple of logbooks from the 80s here somewhere. I need to look in my boxes because I would be amazed, and I would probably be like, "Whoa, I heard all of that." Man. Electro Bidouillard, bonjour, bienvenue. Radio Shack DX100, yes, also my first shortwave radio, bought in 1982. Not a great radio, but fun as a first one, and cheap when on sale. Thanks for the memories. Yeah, I still have it. Mine is there. It's still in good working shape. And absolutely, you know what? I didn't know better. When I got the Radio Shack DX100 in 82, I didn't know better. Honestly, when you look at it today, it's kind of a horrible radio in reality. It's really not a good radio. It drifted a lot, but it was my radio, and I mean, probably got my first, 50, 75 QSLs from using my DX100 until I moved on to my second radio that I had, which was a second-hand radio. It was a DX302 with a digital readout. That one also not the best in the world, but did the job, and I continued doing some listening with the DX302. I had a couple of portables back also. My dad would sometimes go at flea markets and come back with shortwave radios. I had a One of them was a Panasonic RF, I think it was an RF 2200, and a Panasonic RF B300. That were amazing radios, actually, amazing portables. The RF B300, I believe he purchased brand new, like $300 back then. It was pretty nuts. And I remember listening with that. And then in 1990, I got my Kenwood R5000 receiver. First big gun, really powerful tabletop shortwave radio that I kept for 20 years until it wore out. Now Fastload, that sometimes we see in the chat room, has it. It's not working well. It's when it actually wore out that I bought the R8500 from Radio World in Toronto. Mike DX, remember back in the 70s hearing Israel and China in one evening, that hooked me for life. And those were difficult. I mean, the Radio Peking and Radio Japan, these were amazing catches back then because they were direct from, they didn't have relays like today. There were very few relays actually back then. There was a couple of stations relayed from, I think it was from Gabon. And there was Voice of Free China, which is today Radio Taiwan International. They used to be relayed by the WIFR transmitters in Okeechobee, Florida, which are the transmitters that now are WRMI. But there weren't many relays back then. Most stations were coming direct from their area. So it made it more difficult to hear a lot of these stations. Pretty amazing. What else do we have? What else do we have? Mike DX started listening in 73, 74, almost 10 years before me. Mountain Valley says my favorite catch was and still is Ham Military Station in Antarctica. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, back in those days, no internet. We had to get our schedules in some way. In some way, for sure. Donald Hosmer says I use an older Kenwood SP930 with my ICOM IC7200. Best antenna speaker I ever had. External speaker, sorry. That's you ever had. Cool. It is important to have a good audio. Absolutely here. Mike DX, Michael Ketchell, nice to have you here. Mike DX is glad to hear you're going for a ham call. M1 ELK here. Also have made up CB radio call 26MD01. Cool. Yes, absolutely. I got a transceiver now. Got no choice. Got no choice but to get my ham ticket now. David says the audio on the 7100 is a bit harsher than on the 8500 due to the DSP demodulation. The R8500 is fully analog, and because of this, it sounds more natural and pleasant. Yeah, it's probably a little bit like the FT450 here, which is also DSP based. You have the harshness of the DSP, the digital signal processing on the audio that you hear. So some stations are trying to contact the other stations from Rwanda. Voice of Korea in English, 7570, says Richard. Yeah, the analog S meter is fun. But you know what? I kind of like the on the FT450, that digital S meter is kind of cute. So no. But the 8500 is nice. Bobby Burgess getting multiple contacts on 14167. Upper sideband. PA1WX, nice to have you on board, my friend from the Netherlands. Pretty cool. DRAF, nice to have you on board. Says, yay, live shortwave. Nice to have you here from Kingston, New York. DJK Solo says, love your channel, brother. Always nice to be here. Danny Shortwave says, video reception are best log that I use. And it's fun. You know what? I love to see other people reception of stations. I kind of find it cool to see the visual of either a radio that you're just having, you know, the radio in front of you and the audio of a station, or if it's an SDR with a screen capture. I actually spent so many nights, you know, like you're going through cable and there's nothing on, or you go to Netflix and you're like, nah, there's nothing I really want to watch right now on Netflix, or you know, or you see that, you know, that sometimes on Netflix you'll see that thing that's like a series, and you're like, okay, well, I don't want to watch a series tonight, you know, there's just maybe a movie, and then I end up going on YouTube and start to search for all sorts of shortwave videos and radio videos in general. And I've surprised myself sometimes to be on YouTube on my 50-inch TV in the living room, and having a couple of hours just going through radio videos. And it's fun because, you know, YouTube has this way of linking stuff that if you start looking at this guy's channel with radio stuff, you see other channels with radio stuff. And it's funny because so many times I'm watching shortwave videos and I look at one miniature video and it's like, oh, that one looks good. And then I look at it and it's like, oh, it says official shortwave channel. That's my video. And you're like, okay, oh, that's my video. Okay, that I posted that. Just funny. David in Barcelona says, same reason I initially started my Twitter account, so that I could use it as a logbook for signals I received that other people could see and tune into. Absolutely, you know, do it for fun. Absolutely. Department of Defense Skywave schedules for Android. Oops, I've lost it. Has a pretty decent logging feature. I haven't used the logging feature, but I do use Skywave schedules on Android. I kind of like the interface a lot, for sure. Richard Cook's got Pyongyang very weak on 6400. Nice African music on 6195, says Mike DX, Voice of America. Says VOA Border Crossings with Larry London, great show. Got me into new American reggae. Cool. You know, that's shortwave's fun for that. We hear a lot of stuff we don't hear on the local radio channels, you know, on FM or medium wave. You know, I was tuning around the medium wave band a couple of times this week because around 02, 0300, the shortwave bands were crappy. Not a lot to tune around. The ham bands were quiet. Even 80 meters was very quiet this week many times, around 02, 0300. So it got me tuning the medium wave band, all of it. And I tuned the medium wave band. I took out my Grundig S450 DLX because I saw it the other day and I saw somebody talking about it. And it reminded me that I hadn't used it in a while, in quite a while. So I decided to take it out for a spin and expect more videos of that, by the way. I'm going to tune in some shortwave signals with it. Really beautiful audio, by the way, on that Grundig. But I see that over time, even though I haven't used it much, it's developed all sorts of weird problems, including the tuning. I sometimes tune the dial and the digits go, for example, if I go by increasing the frequency, so I tune the dial and it increases the frequency, you know, by 5 kilohertz. And then sometimes it jumps from where I was to 1,000 kilohertz down. I'm like, what the hell? As if the encoder or something is weird, or I don't know. So definitely a beautiful radio, but definitely that thing, and I've seen so many people with the Grundig S450 DLX talking about how it's they got a deaf unit or they got a broken unit. Definitely an amazing problem with quality control on that radio. And it's sad because it's actually a very beautiful receiver. The Grunning S450 DLX is a PLL-based radio, and it's actually very nice. The big speaker gives really nice audio, but I mean, it's crap. It's crap, and it's sad for that. DJ K Solo still remembers tuning into the shortwave bands back in the 70s. Great time, memories, still great to listen today. Yeah, you know, it's different, and of course I do miss the fact that there were so many stations back then, but I still have a great time tuning today, you know, for sure. Department of Defense says Radio Prague Sunday music broadcast and Voice of Greece are my personal favorites for music on the bands. Greece is fun. You know, I've never been a fan of listening to music on shortwave. It's never been my thing. I like music, but you know, if I stumble upon a Radio Romania's music show or something, I'll tend to tune away. But I've surprised myself many times listening in to Brazil on 11780 for some of the very beautiful Brazilian music. I remember, for example, Música del Ecuador on HCJB made me hear some very beautiful Ecuadorian music. There are certain types of music that I will listen to. For some reason, the Radio Romania music shows, I find the music aggressive. I don't know. It's like, I don't know, the hard rock of Romania. It's not rock at all. It's really Romanian traditional stuff. But so, I don't know why. It's kind of aggressive. And it's just funny. Cuban lady numbers, 11635. Will I hear that? And it's still on. Yes, I've been babbling along. There's a signal. There's a good signal, but there's no audio right now. So maybe they're stopped. Maybe they stopped, but the signal is good. The signal is there, and you can see the nice peak in the display here. Peaking in S9, S9 plus 10 easily. Randy in California, nice to have you here, my friend. Bobby Burgess has 9420 strong, which is, of course, Greece. Let's check out Greece. Almost nothing here for Greece. There's some music from WRMI, pretty good on 93.95. By the way, those that like Christmas music, tune into WTWW on 5085. They have lots of Christmas music in the, I'd say in the time range of about 0100 to 0400, 0500. Lots of Christmas music there. Next far, good night, my friend in Germany. And the next show, no shows tomorrow, by the way. Remember that, tomorrow's my Saturday off. Sunday morning, I'll be at the CKUT International Radio Report. I'll be actually at the International Radio Report on CKUT 3 Sundays in a row starting this Sunday. I'll be there this Sunday. I'll be replacing Sheldon at the console Sunday the 16th. And I'll be there for the last show before Christmas on Sunday the 23rd. So three weeks in a row I'm on CKUT's International Radio Report now. And remember, there's the Canadian International DX Club, beautiful, amazing club. And they have the December bulletin. If you if you never asked for a sample copy and want to see what the bulletin is all about, CIDX Club at yahoo.com. CIDX Club at yahoo.com. Don't ask for more than one copy because you won't get more than one. It's a beautiful bulletin, and you can join the club for and have that beautiful PDF bulletin in your email every month for $10, not $10,000. That would be a lot. $10 a year, or $25 for 3 years, and it's totally worth it. Eric Cottrell says, okay, wait, Eddie Gallagher, nice to have you here, says, how is the ICOM R8500 on every analog signal? It's pretty good. Actually, I will set it up because right now what's happening is I would like to, share different and try different reception. But right now, the way I'm set up, I can't set up 3 radios at the same time. I have only 2 at the same time. The ones that are set up right now are the FT450 and the SDR1A, SPR1A. I want to try to have all of them plugged in together, that I would be able to tune all of them at the same time if I could. So I'm going to try that out. But 8500 has always been pretty good on the analog signals on shortwave. Definitely a very, very good receiver in there. Eric Cottrell bought a Panasonic RF 2200 back in '78. And he still has it. I wish I didn't sell mine. I sold mine. So my dad bought this at a flea market in '86 maybe. And I actually sold it in '92, '93. My brother had a garage sale. And I was out of a job at that period of time. So, of course, when you're not working, you don't have a lot of cash. So I sold two scanners, and I sold the Panasonic RF 2200 for $75 in 1992, 93, somewhere around there. And today I just think about it, and I said, come on, for $75 you should have kept that thing, and it would have been nice here in my collection of radios. But you do stuff like the DX302. My realistic DX302 I sold for $75 also, I believe, at a guy that I was working with. That it's so funny, because the guy that I was working with was a very religious guy. And of course, when we were working, he was always trying to give me that Jesus stuff. And I was always telling him, I ain't interested. Don't talk to me about Jesus, okay? I ain't interested. You can talk about whatever you want, but we're not talking about that. But at one point, I'd said, hey, you like Jesus stuff? There's a lot of Jesus stuff on shortwave. Have you ever listened? He said, no, I don't know. And one night, I said, come over one night, and I'll have you listen. And of course, that guy was very, very, he was totally in all of that, and he wanted to, he wanted to like become a priest or something. And we tuned around. He heard all the Jesus stuff, and he said, "Oh, I want to buy your radio." And I said, "Okay, how much? How much? Do you want to spend?" He said, "I'll give you $75 for it." And I said, "Okay, 75." But I totally regret selling that thing. Also, I should have kept the realistic DX302. That would have been a nice add-on also to all the radios I've got here. I regret selling all these old radios. People tell me all the time, well, you should, sell your 8500 and get yourself a more advanced whatever. No, I don't want to. If I want to have a more advanced radio, I want to keep the 8500 also. I don't want to have to choose. I need to sell a radio to have another one. I want all of them. It's as simple as that. I'm not selling a radio anymore at all. Shortwave frequency channel says, any tips for shortwave single sideband UHF, VHF, air scanner, or station handheld in the $100 to $150 range? Look for used portables. If you are looking for VHF, UHF, that's a wideband radio, and these tend to be expensive. The only real good thing that you would get for that, but you're looking for a handheld. If you're not, an example, for 100 to 150, the SDR that I'm using here, which is a SDR Play RSP1A, which is somewhere around 100 to 125, 130, is all of that. It's a UHF VHF receiver, goes from 1 kilohertz to 2 gigahertz. It's darn good everywhere, and you will be in that range, and you'll have For that price, I think that would be almost the best wideband receiver you can get. The drawback is that you'll need to use a computer to have it working. But if you don't mind using a computer, I think that is one of the best ways. Or else at 100, 150, you'll have to look into older portables or older receivers. And wideband receivers that are good will typically, even used one, will be more expensive than 100 to 150. So maybe that would be my suggestion. I don't know what anybody else could have as a suggestion. Matambali, Radio Exterior España, quite good on 11940 S9 Plus, very slow fades. 11940. Yeah, I've got nothing. Let's see if it's still good on 9690. Even 9690 is fading out. It's incredible when the sun sets here. The maximum usable frequency drops really, really fast. It's really crazy. I've not been able to hear Spain much in the past couple of weeks. Typically at 2300, 9690 is not propagating anymore. I don't know why they haven't used a 49 meter band frequency. Voice of Korea improved on 7570, says Richard Cook. Eddie Gallagher, I got ICOM R8500 for Christmas. I would like to know how good they are as a receiver. The 8500 is a great receiver, Eddie. It's a great receiver everywhere. It's one of the best receivers out there. I can tell you there are better because I've used the Kenwood R5000 for a while, and I can tell you that on the shortwave side, I did notice the Kenwood R5000 had a little edge. It's a little more than the 8500. But that said, an 8500 is an amazing receiver everywhere, and it is great. Set it up, it's just an amazing receiver. I can tell you that. Rock Ristorante says 7570 is well, I'm far in the chat right now, eh? I'm coming down, guys. So Risto, I saw, okay. Risto says 7570 is good now, but USB is terrible. Richard Cook says empty carrier 9900 kilohertz. Yeah, probably Cairo. It's most probably Cairo with an empty carrier. Tony Perron, Brother Stare 9330. Does that count? Mike Ware says, who's ranging at Astroworld Denver? Nice to have you here. What else do we have? Let's just go down slowly. Let's go down slowly. Richard says, what's going on with propagation to have Spain strong again on 9690? Yeah, there are these things sometimes that are almost impossible. Kevin Wood, nice to have you here. Says great memories of Ghana Beast broadcasting with iLife MX in the early 80s. I remember when Voice of Nigeria was a regular French thing. I remember listening in one of my fond memories, and that was with the DX 302, listening to 4VEH in Haiti in the evenings on 4930. I remember listening to that. They had game shows. They had some game show on in the evening in English that sounded strangely like, some of the, American, like Jeopardy or something. It was funny. I almost wonder sometimes if they weren't playing, the audio of some American Jeopardy shows. It was nuts. Max S. Strong says, I miss all the strange single sideband utility stations the most. I loved when we could listen in on the transatlantic calls from ships on the maritime bands. That was a lot of fun. It was difficult to find one in a language I understood because there were so many, but I miss that. That was a lot of fun, actually. Mike DX says, I like music on shortwave, always have. Back in the 80s, I used to tune for music. Yeah, it depends, I guess, on what we want. I've never been a great fan. Robert Prosper, nice to have you here, says, my Grenic S450 DLX turns itself off at random times. Touching the tuning dial is especially apt to power the thing off. A pity. Yeah, it is weird. Mine is also behaving very, very weird. It's like, you know what? To give you an idea of a weird thing that happened, I listened to the BBC via the VPR station in Burlington, Vermont, on 107.9 today at 1400 UT, which is local time 9 a.m., because it receives it very well on 107.9. I shut down the radio afterwards. Everything's all right. I come back, half an hour later, the display light is on, and I can't even shut it off. I had to take out the batteries. Its behavior is very weird, and I don't know. I think the S450 DLX really has some very, very bizarre problems. I can tell you that. It's probably some kind of haunted radio. It's the Christine of radios. It's probably haunted by the devil or something, and it's gonna kill us all. if you guys see a news item that I got killed by a S450 DLX, you'll know that it's probably a devil radio. Matt says, I'll listen to most music programs I found on shortwave. Can't say why exactly, but as an example, NHK plays Western music. Most of it very familiar during the 1700 broadcast, and I'll be hooked if I'm copying. It's funny, WRMI was playing Christmas music out of season most of the year, but I haven't noticed any recently. Yes, I remember, I think it was in July, remember seeing a post of somebody saying, really? Christmas music on WRMI in July? Just crazy. It's just crazy. Richard Cook says, heard Christmas music early on a different station, but none on WRMI yet. Yeah, WTWW seems to be the station with the most Christmas music right now. Mike DX says, I like to make recordings of my catcher, so I always try to optimize the audio quality. That's one thing I want to try to play with. For example, it's interesting because on my desktop computer with Windows 7, the audio of the RSP1A is very harsh, and I'm trying to find a way to make it better. But when I use the RSP1A on my laptop, my Core i5 laptop with the realistic speaker I use for my Icon, the audio is actually beautiful. So I don't know if it's the computer speakers I'm using or the way that the audio is processed with the audio card in the desktop. It's very weird. Obviously, it's not the RSP1A that's the problem here. So, you know. Keegan, nice to have you here, my friend XN80Xer from Northwest Arkansas. Pretty cool. Mike DX never sells. I never sell radios. I just wear them out. I also never buy secondhand radios. I will buy secondhand radios when they're a good price. When they're at a good price, I do like buying secondhand radios. I would have tons of them if it were just for me. Alvin Chipman, can you show your radio collection? We're going to do that next Friday, by the way. Next Friday, I will be posting. I will be on the other side, and we'll be showing my radio collection. A lot of you guys have asked to do this again. Nice to have you on board, Lacrosse, Wyoming, I would guess, or WIEAS. Nice to have you on board. Kevin Wood says, don't remind of all nice radios I've sold. Yeah, I tell you. Max S. Strong says, my radios are like children to me. I can't sell them. He looks at it and says, what do I do? I'm going to sell the child or I'm going to sell the radio? Huh. What will I do? That sounds so bad. Romania in English on 6170. Let's try 6170 while I pour a beer. Pretty good. Let's try 7310. 7310 also really good for Radio Romania.
The winner of several Champions League trophies, he now hopes to win a title with the national team as well. We must take it step by step, one game at a time. We know very well what our goal is. We want
so beer number 2.
If we win this European Championship, this goal
beer the damned. Mozit.
The team that wins the Continental Championship secures its qualification.
Not too bad, an hour 40 minutes for a beer. I ain't gonna get drunk tonight.
Stage with the highest possible number of points and has good chances to get one of the top 2 positions and move forward into the semi-finals. The next match is against Netherlands, a strong team that has also won 4 points in the previous stage of the competition.
So cheers, everyone.
As Martin explained, it will be hard. The Dutch have a similar style to the Norwegians, and we need an excellent performance again. This will not be easy because the girls have already made such an effort, but I hope their minds...
So 7310 and 6170, good for Radio Romania English. Sakura DX has only has 3.5 12 megahertz shortwave. Okay, talking about radio. Max Armstrong says, I swear buying radios is almost like an addiction. I want them all. I totally understand you. I totally understand you. Robert Prosper says, I wish I could buy a radio that also received the audio of broadcast TV. Yeah, like before, you know, it was you had all of these radios that are totally useless in those bands now, where you could listen to audio from the TV stations. No more audio there. There's like just nothing. Mike DX says, if I was talking to a beginner these days, I would recommend the RSP1A with HDSDR. Scott Collier, nice to have you here. Made it in time to catch the show live. Anyone have some tips for installing Linux software on a Chromebook to run SDR Play software in the hardware? Anybody can help for installing Linux on a Chromebook? Well, if it's an Intel-based Chromebook, I would guess there must be some way. But I'm not into. I need to buy a Chromebook and get really into that for sure. So Matt says, I don't think I'm that attached to my equipment. I think I'd upgrade the RSP Duo if I thought our HRO would give me 100 from our RSP2 Pro. So you are more of the well, okay. Let's do a little thing here. Okay, I'm going to rectify because now what you're talking about makes me think. Okay, let's say that I would have, so for example, I have a Soft 66 RTL 2. And let's say they would say, if you send us back the RTL 2 and we're going to send you an RTL 3 for $10 that has a little more stuff on it, well, that I wouldn't mind. Because for some reason, I'm not attached to that type of receiver. So when you're talking about, well, if I have an RSP2 Pro, if the RSP Duo is better, it's an SDR, it's pretty much a black box, I would maybe not be that, I would maybe think of the exchange. But on tabletops, like the ICOM or stuff like that, or portables that I own, that I would not do. I would not like doing it. That I would like to keep the original one, because I had people tell me, hey, why don't you sell your 8500 and take that cash and get an 8600? And my first reaction is, no, I want to keep the 8500 and get the 8600. Anyways, for what I will have for the 8500, which is still very far from the price of the 8600, might as well shell out the whatever hundreds of dollars I'll be missing and have both of them next to each other, I would say. So it's really, really weird. It depends on the radios, I guess, you know. Okay, let's go down. Let's go down, down, down. The radio with TV sound. Okay. What else do we have? What else do we have? Radio exterior España 11940 dropped from S9. Last report to S5 right now. 2134. Johnny DXer, what you missed? Well, you missed so much. We compressed 8 hours of show in 30 minutes. Kidding. We were talking about radio, so you missed radio stuff. Not that much. Cuban lady going on 11635. Let's try 11635. You hear it? And now I hear the audio. Yep. Cuban number is 11635. Going on. Absolutely. Not bad at signal too. Yeah, it is like paradise, Sakura DX here. It's radio paradise. We all are just great radio fans. Robert Prosper says, I built a crystal radio last weekend that actually worked in my apartment without any ground and just a 10-foot indoor random wire. Wow. You must have some really strong signals near you, because when I built, the last time I built a crystal radio was about 25 years ago, if not more. And I remember I needed to ground it really well on the water pipe in order to receive signals on the AM band. But it's kind of a kick, you know. You hear the radio stations from that. It's kind of fun. Tam, Jill, what does it tell you that the Texan PL450 is still being produced? It must be a good radio. It is an amazing radio. The PL450 that my nephew Gabriel has it, is a beautiful radio. Very sensitive, beautiful audio. It's one of the best Texan receivers I've ever bought. And it's not expensive. It's really, really amazing, I have to say. Very sensitive, very well made for what it is. Really, really, for the price, amazing. Keegan has a Radio Shack 12795 radio with AM, FM, TV, shortwave, weather, CB, TV band 1, NTSC VHF 26, and TV 2, which is VHF 7 to 13. I got a few radios here that have the TV audio band on it that you can't do anything anymore. So, you know, it's just crazy. Robert Prosper says, guys sold me an S450 DLX on Craigslist for $10, so I cannot complain too much. No, for $10. For $10, you know, you got something. I would not have been happy if I'd paid the original price, because the original price of that Grande at the source here was like $200. I would have paid that. I would have been mad. I purchased it. It was on sale for $69, and I mean, it worked really well when I took it out of the box, and it worked really well for several months. But it's odd that it's having all sorts of these problems show up. It's very, very weird. And I can't quite explain it, honestly. It's as if the processor, the kind of CPU they use in it is weird, or kind of has electronic glitches or something. It's very, very bizarre. One thing I haven't tried yet that I want to try is to remove the batteries for like 48 hours and see if I put the batteries back, if it's okay. I reset it. This week it was so weird that I actually reset. On the bottom right of the radio, you have a little reset slot. I reset it, but man, it's like, nope, it's crazy. Crazy. Tony Perron says my grunting field radio developed a bad tuning problem. It jumps forward and backwards as is useless. So yeah, but you know that's not made by grunting. It's a grunting name, but it's made by I don't know what Chinese company. Thanks, that's wrong. I would sometimes just sit and stare at my 390 and think about the incredible signals and locations and what it must have been through. Robert Prosper says, I've seen YouTube vids of a crystal radio build that actually powers a loudspeaker. Obviously, builder must have a great antenna and a ground and powerful nearby stations. Yeah, what I used to do when I had my crystal radio, I had one of those little cheap Radio Shack portable amplifiers. I don't know if some of you remember that. It was a little portable amplifier, and you could input your the audio of anything, and you'll have come out of the speaker. So what I would do is take the output of the that was a little earphone that you would put for the it was one of those crystal earphones that you would listen in on that crystal radio, and I would just hook up 2 wires instead and put it in that amplifier, and I could actually listen to some of these stations through the loudspeaker of that amplifier. Robert Bocorny, nice to have you here. Whatever happened to Marine Time Radio? Did they go to satellite or radio teletype? There's still some marine stuff. And I was looking at a log the other day on, I think it was in the Spectrum Monitor magazine, and noticing that there was actually, there's some activity on the maritime bands if you are patient enough and listen enough. But most of what was the marine calls, transatlantic calls, have moved to satellite calls. That's why we don't really hear much. Erica Trell says, does your laptop have audio processing? I noticed my Windows 10 laptop has some Dolby audio processing. Yeah, well, I know that the audio in Windows 10 is handled very differently because you can have Dolby Atmos and stuff like that in the audio processing. And for some reason, my Windows 10 laptop seems to have a much more beautiful sound hooked up to a external speaker. Because if I listen to the internal speakers of this laptop, are the crappiest speakers I've ever seen on a laptop. And typically, I don't listen to audio from there. I listen to audio either with my USB headset or of course I put it through the DSP-40 and a realistic speaker here. But the RSP1A audio on my laptop, my Windows 10 laptop, is actually a million times more beautiful than on this Windows 7 desktop, which is it's kind of harsh and crappy. Keegan says Romania 7310 Radio Marina S5 out of 5. Cool. Dana F, nice to have you on board, says, wow, cannot get video to work, says browser does not recognize the video format. What are you using as a browser? It's standard video. I mean, if you're using Google Chrome, you should be pretty much make sure your browser is not has been updated, Dana. You need to update the browser. Richard says number stations are interesting if they stay on after their broadcast. Sometimes you get a Windows XP sign-off tune. Shows you that they're using some old hardware for those things. I can tell you that. Kevin Woods says, sold my Drake R4C recently. JRC NRD 545 got traded for a laser printer when they cost $1,000. Yeah. You know, sometimes it's just, we got to do what we got to do. It's just sad. Just sad. Mike DX says, the best receiver I've ever had was in JRC NRD525. These are great. I mean, the Japan Radio Corporation receivers were all they were all quoted as being some of the best receivers, actually, every time, every year. I remember looking at them in the Passport to Broadband Radio that would rate almost every radio that exists. That was one of the things I enjoyed actually watching in the Passport to Broadband Radio was the reviews of all the receivers, which was a lot of fun. We're at an hour 55. I'm just going to do some self-promotion here. Hey, guys, if you enjoy what I do, why not think about a little donation, guys? It helps me continue what I do. And, it helps me pay for the internet bill and for everything. I mean, unfortunately, of course, my monetization on YouTube isn't bad at all this year. But still, it gives me a little boost, helps me out. You can pay food for Paul the Cat if you want. You can, put funds for my beer on the show. Or just say, hey, Merry Christmas and have fun. It helps me pay for the equipment. I use it to buy new equipment, new lighting systems, all sorts of things that are needed. By the way, I didn't turn this one on that I usually do turn. There it goes. It helps me, continue with what I do here. If you enjoy what I do, paypal.me/shortwave or on the Yahoo email that you see here. I'm putting it in the chat also. Or you can also join 11 patrons on patreon.com that are giving me a little something every month. So patreon.com/radioandcomputers. And there you can set it up so that it's automatic, and every month, at the beginning of the month, they take a little something. Be careful the way that you set it up. Make sure that you don't mess up, because sometimes you can have some surprises. But thanks for everybody that donated. As usual, I'm trying to reach out here to people that have never donated and that are here all the time and that could spare a little, few bucks. I want to think about it, and it's much appreciated. Thanks, everybody, for your donations. Okay, let's continue. We're already at 2 hours. You know what? There are times like this. I was talking about with a friend about that, because he was talking to me about live shows. Because he watched a few times and said, "Wow, I see you doing a 4-hour live show and talking." And and he's like, I would not be able to talk for 4 hours. But I was telling him, live shows like this, it's something that, sometimes you get into the show and there's so many things to talk about and you're just, going through. And there's so many things that you just, you go on for hours easily. But I said, sometimes you get into the show and you're like, well, I don't have much today and much to say. And of course, one of the things about a live show like this is I do have hints from the chat room. I see all you guys talking about radios and stuff, and it gives me ideas, gives me something I want to say, or or answer a question. Some people ask questions. And today was one of these shows when I got on, I was like, well, I don't have much to talk about today. I haven't prepared anything, and it's always like, well, I'm wondering how long this show is going to go. But I was telling my friend that the funniest part of this show has always been almost every time I had nothing and I didn't think it would go on for a long time. Those were almost always the longest shows I've ever had, because for some reason something pops up and we all have something to talk about. It's just funny. So, hey, we're at 2 hours almost now, and this is the Shortwave Show out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. My name is Gilles. We talk about radio, shortwave radio, medium wave, AM radio, long wave, whatever we want to talk about. It's just having a lot of fun with what you might think is an old technology, but it's actually much more modern than you think. And radio is here to stay for a long time, I can tell you that. Okay, Keegan says 5,000 kilohertz WWV as 3 out of 5, and the noise fading at times. Let's try out here. I've had success this week in. Whoops, I'm gonna go here. Let's try all the frequencies for WWV, even the ones that I don't think are gonna come in, like 25 megahertz. Nothing on 25. Nothing on 20. I did hear 20 though. I think it was yesterday afternoon. Let's try 15. 15 is there. 15 is there. 10. There's something on 10. I'm gonna wait if it's gonna sound like, because 10 it could be Brazil here also, but I usually hear that's WWV. I heard the tone. And 5,000. I don't know if it's gonna make it yet. Yeah, it does make it on 5,000 here already. 5,000 kilohertz WWV. Let's see if I can hear RWM Moscow 4996 on CW. Nothing much here. I seem to hear a tone. I hear a tone on 4996. But I'm not sure. There's definitely a tone on 4996. I'm gonna try it out. Let's try out the buzzer 4625. I don't hear the buzzer. Let me just out of curiosity, I'm gonna leave it there a little bit, see if it's RWM. If I'm receiving I'm receiving a constant carrier. I don't know if that's what's on the RWM right now, which is a time signal out of Moscow, Russia. Matt says, I think if I had a receiver in the class of the R8500, I would keep it if I could also get an R8600. That's a bit different from $200 SDRs that came out within 18 months of each other. Yeah, maybe that's the difference here. Keegan says 11635. It just went on the air. It had S5 out of 5. It should move to 10715. Brian Penny, nice to have you here from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Josh Evangelo, nice to have you here. Always nice to have all of you here. Oh yeah, you should, Jerry DX, make a video of your crystal radio. Absolutely. And Josh Evangelo is from Chesapeake, Virginia. Nice to have you on board. Dave B, nice to have you here, says, getting to know my new ICOM ICR8600 will take a while to master this radio. These are complex receivers. I mean, they are very, very complex receivers. What else do we have? What else do we have? Let's go down, let's go down. Sorry, if I missed, by the way, saying hi, please say hello again. Sometimes I'm going a little fast in the chat room to try not to be too far behind. David Arden, nice to have you on board. Cool. Matt says, time for me to roll. Be back to checking times with my phone. 73, my friend. K0SFC. And W80080SWL. M12 due in a few minutes on 5832. SWL60N, nice to have you on board from Stockholm. Not much shortwave broadcast in English language to listen to in Europe. It's Radio Romania and Radio China, basically. Actually, there's a lot of stuff in English in Europe. There's much more than just these two. I was tuning in one day on the on one of the SDRs out of Sweden, and I heard tons of things to listen to. Maybe it's the times that you're listening in, or maybe you have too much of a high noise level. I don't know, because there is quite a lot of stuff. Radio China 5960 English. So let's check it out. Do I hear? I don't know if it's still there. It's 2100. Let's just try it out here. 5960. What do I have? I've got the station of 5960, but I think it signed off at 2100. So my DX best radio I have currently, ICOM 76 Pro Mark III. Yeah, these are pretty good radios. Absolutely. Shortwave 60N using a Sony ICF Shortwave 7600 JR most of the time. Hey, Dirty Diaper 21, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. Any radios that you asked Santa to get for Christmas? Not really, because I got my advanced Christmas gifts. The RSP-1A and the Yaesu FT450. This is... Basically, I can pretty much say that these are my Christmas gifts this year. Really, really nice. Radio Van Cuban English on 9720. Let's check it out. I hear it in the noise. The audio seems to be a little kind of a little weak. Yes, we've reached 100. I've seen people watching at 141 at the highest since we started the show today. JDX says propagation is decent tonight. Keegan says 10715. Cuban numbers. Let's check it out. Yep, Cuban numbers. You have the audio stuff. Let's see, or the Cuban lady. It's weaker. It was better on 11635 for me, but it's there. It's there. Max S. Strong says, my guess is the live shows require discipline and energy for you to host. Oh, absolutely. Discipline is as a whole for YouTube. One of the things that I was telling that friend that's starting a YouTube channel, I said, you know, I work from home. I wake up in the morning. I don't have a set schedule, but I have to do videos and I have to post content. And I can't, you know, it's easy because people tell me, oh, well, you wake up in the morning and you can just do whatever you know. I don't do whatever I want. If I do whatever I want, I'll be doing other things than YouTube and I'm not going to make enough money. You got to work there. So discipline is very important for self-employed and people and working from home. And it does require a lot of energy to host a show that lasts for 3-4 hours at a time, because many times that I've shut down the show at 3 hours or 4 hours, there's like, you know, I get up and I'm kind of tired for the fact that I've been hosting for 4 hours. It's something that you gotta, you know, I gotta be hyped up. I gotta be there. I can't be like sleepy on the live show. People are gonna find it boring. So you need energy, and you need to have you do need a lot of discipline to work, to be self-employed and work doing things like this. Absolutely. For that, absolutely. What do we have here? Oh yeah, absolutely. But you know, I have a natural talent, which is nice. Honestly, this is something that's helping me a lot. A lot of people tell me, I don't know, you can talk for 3 hours. And that's because I have to say I have a natural talent to talk. And, you know, and obviously the knowledge of radio is there, so I can not only talk, you know, I don't just blabber about whatever, I actually talk about something, you know. That's also important, for sure. Charlie Hustle 55, nice to have you on board. Oh, absolutely, you got to be on. Jerry DX, does the lava lamp work behind you? Love to have mine out, but my wife doesn't like them. No, it doesn't work anymore. I have to throw it in the garbage. It stopped working ages ago, and it's just that I've never thrown it out. And actually, the liquid is slowly dissipating. I need to throw it out. I actually like that thing. It was, you know, it's one of those things that you look at it and people say, well, what the hell, you know, what the hell are you going to do with that? I like those, you know, those things. I just like it. I need to have something and replace it with some. I did see a very beautiful lava lamp at a store not far from here that sells all sorts of gizmos of all sorts of things that I would not buy, but they had a very beautiful lava lamp that I need to use and that I would like to buy, actually. It's very beautiful. As long as it doesn't explode like on the when they made one explode on the Mythbusters. Shitty Pyro 90, nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. Tim says for telling the time you buy a watch, for knowing where you are you buy a compass, for shortwave you buy a Sony 7600 JR. So that means that 4996, and I'm going to go back. It's time pips right now, right? Can you confirm that, Richard? Time pips? I'm hearing they're weak, difficult to hear, but I'm hearing time pips right now at 22:14 UTC. I'm definitely hearing time pips. So I'm hearing RWM time signal from Moscow and 4996 CW mode in the noise, but it's there. Take care, Mike DX. It's nice to have you on board. Brett Wayne says the harp show is harp top show. That one was pretty amazing. I have to say that, but that one went through like this. I mean, you know, going through, trying to tune around the harp signals and everything. And you know what? Christopher Fallen had a kick out of it. He really enjoyed the fact that we were a bunch of people tuning into the signals of these tests. It's really, really nice. Really, really nice. Keegan is hearing 7850 CHU between S1 and S3 out of S5. Okay. Did you get my comment about SDR on a Chromebook? No. I did not. Shady Pyro picking up Spanish chatter on 6900 lower sideband. Yeah, there's a lot of those, you know, peskies. There's like, you know, fishermen and whatever. There's tons of these going on. Anywhere from about 6850 to about 68 to 6960, 6970. I hear tons of them in lower sideband. So many times I've heard Spanish chatter. For example, there would be a pirate on 6925 upper sideband, but if you actually change to lower sideband, then you would hear some Spanish chatter. So it's like listening to two broadcasts on the same frequency. It's kind of cool. And Ray Lyle, nice to have you on board from Southern Illinois. Keegan says 9720s, S5 out of S5. Pretty good. Pretty good. Oh, really? Johnny DXer posted a video of a Cuban number lady on 9155 early this morning. I didn't even know they were using that frequency. I know that they were using a couple of lower frequencies, but I don't know. Max Strong, yeah, working from home is a strange discipline. I keep a timesheet. Things get blurry between work and goofing off. Absolutely, absolutely. Sometimes it's easy to wander off when you work at home because it happens many times for me. It's I have my set stuff that I have to do before noon, but after noon, I don't necessarily have a number of set things to do. Except if I have a live show or if something is happening in tech that I have to talk about. And that's where it gets strange because you'll get, this, I'll eat dinner and I'll start reading stuff and looking at stuff and get distracted by this or by that or by the fact that it's beautiful outside. And it's easy to wander off and just do nothing. So, I often do. You guys are going to find it funny because I'm a tech guy, but, I got these paper tablets all the time. I wake up in the morning and what I do first thing in the morning is write today's videos, and I will put a set list of videos that I want to do today. And of course, sometimes that list starts in the day before, because sometimes in the evening before, I will be thinking of, oh, tomorrow I need to talk about this. Tomorrow I need to do that. So I'll have this, and I'll just cross everything that I've done. So this gives me kind of a list of, okay, I got to do this today. And if there's something more, there's something more. If there's not that much, I might stay with just doing the list. So, it depends. But I think it's important to do a list of things to do, not to wander off too much. Sakura DX says, how you drink your beer looks very nice. Okay, well, cheers. Yeah, there's a lot of those shitty pyro, 6900 lower sideband. There's a lot of those Spanish freebanders. And you know what? It's not just around there. If you tune around across the shortwave frequency range, you'll notice that you got lots of those everywhere, everywhere. Max Estron says Michel is a bit of a ham. Hey Vianney, bonjour, bienvenue de la Gaspésie. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Glenn, nice to have you on board. The gift to Gab. What do you mean, the gift to Gab? Max S. Strong, I'm hearing, let me just, I don't know if am I crazy? I'm hearing some very weak audio coming from something, not the SDR. Is that there's something playing on the radio very, very weak. You know, it sometimes happens and I go nuts. And I have one of the radios that, like, falls down in the shelf there with tons of other radios, and you start hearing a little bit of audio and it's very weak and it drives you nuts. Or you hear one of the radio that suddenly has its alarms pop up and it's like, whoa. Which radio is it? And it took me, there was one radio this summer. Every time we reached midnight, it would beep for 10 seconds. And I would always forget about it because I was like, okay, one radio beeped for 10 seconds. I would hear it and say, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna stand there and wait. But of course, the next day you forget about it. I think for a month, every midnight, sometimes I would go to bed and hear it from the bed, very weak from the office here, and hear the beep, beep, beep. was like, oh man, that darn radio. What the hell? Which one is it? And I would look at radios in the next morning, and I just couldn't find which one would just beep. And I had moved things around on one of my shelves, and one of the radios was face down on the shelf. And because it was face down, one of the buttons got kind of stuck in the on position, so the battery, the rechargeable batteries were dead. But for some reason, they would recharge just enough so that the radio would beep at midnight. But it would beep for 10 seconds because the 10 seconds of beep would just wear out the batteries until the next night. It took me, I think it took me a month until I found out what radio was actually beeping. It was driving me nuts. And at least 3 or 4 times, I stood there in front of the radios and waiting. Okay, it's going to beep soon. And even then, I had difficulty knowing which one was beeping. It was nuts. It was really driving me nuts. Oh, God. One of those things sometimes. David Arden says, 117 watching. Well, 128 right now. And only 67 likes. Come on. Keegan says, all of today's reception at my location on a Gredig S450 DLX. It is a beautiful radio. I gotta say, the S450 DLX is a beautiful radio. But man, mine has all sorts of weird glitches. It's crazy. Ray Lyle says, the bands are very active today. Pretty cool. Huh, 63 likes on his hand, says David. You know, sometimes it doesn't refresh for everybody. I remember once having the number of people watching, my counter here was flawed. It was only showing like 50. And everybody's saying, hey, there's 125. I'm like, why do I only see 50? There are these weird things sometimes. I can tell you that. Thanks, Richard. You're confirming that I'm hearing RWM. Even though it's very weak, I'm hearing RWM, which always makes my heart very happy. When I hear RWM, I mean, it's very weak. It's like, what, 4 kilowatts or something like that? And out of Moscow. I'm always happy to hear that time signal out of Moscow, Russia. It's always cool. Always cool. Raymond Challoner says, remember listening to a two-way conversation in mid-80s discovering of the wreck of the Titanic ship to shore on Shortwave, saying that they had found a wine bottle. 3 hours later, it was on BBC News. This, we always get a kick out of this, you know. I still remember, and I believe I have it on tape. I need to get that out. But I remember when the Chernobyl nuclear accident happened. I remember I was listening to Radio Moscow's first broadcast saying that there was a problem at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. It was their first time they would actually talk about it. And it was on Radio Moscow. And I still remember on the evening news, the news here from the CBC, they were actually showing a amateur radio guy with his rig tuned to a frequency of Radio Moscow saying that there was a nuclear accident at Chernobyl. And I was listening that day. Part of history. I was listening that day. Pretty crazy. Keegan says 11760, S5 out of 5. 11760. Check that out. There's definitely a station, which is Radio Havana, Cuba, I believe. Not bad. In Spanish. It's 9 plus 10.
En que quedaría la isla de Irlanda, sea cual fuese.
Radio Moscow 1176 Radio Moscow, Radio Havana, Cuba. Going back in tons. Bobby Burgess 11665 strong. 11665. What do I have? Absolutely nothing. 11840. That is weaker. I hear something, but it's not as strong. It's radio. Hey, Bullfrog, welcome back. Josh Evangelo, would an IRC channel work for after-show activities? You know, I've been thinking about something from time to time because I have a lot of people. I have people all the time telling me, you know what, I would like to have related to your content a place where we could all be in through all the week and so on. And the only real answer that I have to that would be possibly a Facebook group that would be related to my live shows. I've not done much on Facebook grouping for that for a very simple reason. There are quite a few shortwave related Facebook group, and a lot of them that I am part of, and I don't want to make any competition with that. I already have what I do here, and I don't want to add to, you know, or feel that some group might find that I'm suddenly doing competition on Facebook by creating a group. So I've kind of resisted that for mostly that reason, honestly. What does he have? Max Estrong says, pretty interesting. Radio monitors from around the world chatting in the chat room, watching a live video. How can you not love that? Well, if you're a radio fan, this is absolutely cool. I think it is. Hey, Dada Duden, nice to have you here. So Bobby says that for Chromebooks, you got Crostuni, not all there yet for Chrome OS, but you have Crouton or Gallium OS that you can try. So Crouton, yeah, I've heard of Crouton for Chromebooks. So that's the possibility here. Vianney says 11760 S9 unit in the east part of the province of Quebec. Keegan is hearing WWVH on 15,000. Let's see if I hear, still hear WWV. Not hearing much now. It is nuts how the maximum usable frequency drops really fast when the sun sets here. The sun now is set for more than an hour here. Bobby Burgess says also Crostini. So I don't know if it could answer our friend here. Ray Kelly has Radio Guinea on 9650 coming in really well. I had a recording yesterday from Mickey Dalmatian out of Alberta. He sent me a recording and he wanted me to identify that it was really Radio Guinea. I had never heard Radio Guinea so clear and so well. It was like local. It was amazing. And I did send him back a confirmation that it was Radio Guinea. But wow, I had never heard such a clear reception. It was amazing. Take care, Sean Fai. It's nice to have you on board, my friend. Shady Pyro, 9565 Radio Marti between S7 and S9. 565. Here we go. Radio Marti. I'm actually getting the jammer much more than anything else. Radiocom says, we're still missing the pirate flag. I will donate the hammer and drawing pins. Oh man, I always forget. I need to put it up. I need to put it up. I know. I always forget. Sorry guys. Here we go. I'm wearing the pirate flag. I really need to put it up. I'm so sorry guys. I will put it right here next to me because that will remind me that I gotta put it up this weekend for the next show. Oh man. Oh yeah. Max S. Strong says, I would hate to have people stare at me for 3 hours while I was expected to talk. It would be a nightmare to me. I know. Ray Lyle says, World Radio TV Handbook 2019 edition. Being released soon, $50 US. So I did see something go through today that we're talking about the WRTH 2019 edition. So hey, you guys that want to buy this reference book, it usually comes out around Christmas every year. They're trying to match Christmas pretty much. What else do we have? Let me go down. Let me go down here. Yeah. There's Cuban jamming on 9565, Keegan. Absolutely. Every Radio Marti frequency is jammed by Cuba. Sometimes sometimes you hear Radio Marti. Sometimes you hear the jamming. Here sometimes there's a mix. You hear Radio Marti and the jamming over it. What's interesting is sometimes they forget to kind of turn off the transmitter. And so what happens is you get just the jamming for hours at a time on these frequencies that Radio Marti uses. Josh Evangelist says, I had my Greenwich Field radio turning on by itself. I have the batteries out of it now. I do not use it. How to the radio? yeah. I get it. Yeah. Kevin Wood 5010 in Spanish, and I believe that's WRMI on that frequency. Yeah, I'm hearing it right now. 5010 in Spanish, and I do believe that this is WRMI on that frequency 5010. Let's check it out here. 5010. And we have 22 to 2300 hours universal time. It's from Okeechobee, Florida, WRMI. It's Radio Argentina al Exterior, broadcast relay from WRMI in Spanish. So you're receiving the relay of Argentina on 5010 right now. So this is cool. This is cool. I haven't listened to the English broadcast in a while for the WRMI stuff. I need to check that out. And so, let's go back. I'm watching something here. Okay. James Ryan. Nice to have you here. Glenn T, you were saying that you have a gift to be able to talk for hours, and there is a saying when people talk and hold an audience captive, they're having the gift to gab. To talk. Okay, Glenn. Thanks for the... I was wondering. I'm not all that fluent in some of the expressions sometimes. Bonsoir F4 IDL de la campagne française. Bienvenue. Nice to have you on board F4IDL from France. Josh Evangelist says you should do the show in 4K so we can see details in the SDR. I need a better... To do the show in 4K, I need a better, much better equipment. 4K camera, 4K, and I need a much more powerful PC, and it takes a lot of power. I am thinking of what I could do to have you guys see. I was thinking of how I could add a way of you guys seeing maybe in a corner the frequency that's tuned on the radio or something. I'll be checking that out for sure as time goes by. Donald Hosmer says, we had a weird tone heard through the house last week. Finally discovered the APC hooked to my wife's computer was sending an alarm to replace the battery. It always happens, you know. Max Strong says, I have so many transistor radios, they're always beeping because I accidentally pressed the wrong button for some kind. Brett says he hears echo sometimes. It's interesting because I haven't changed anything. So I don't know if it could be an effect of the of YouTube, maybe. I don't know. David says, "Yo, there was just one radio. Imagine 3 or 4 radios in a collection, all beeping randomly. Oh man, I'd drive me nuts. It would drive me nuts." Ray Lyle says, "Hey Joel, how's it going to learning SDR Uno?" Oh, pretty good. I mean, software-wise, I'm not too bad. So I have, not on this one, but on my laptop, I have imported the EIBI space CSV file. I've done quite a lot. I've played a lot with the options. I've learned. I've got the full instructions of SDR Uno in my tablet, so I can, read through and see all the things. It's not that it's not that complicated. It's mostly there's a lot of stuff to learn. What I want to do this week is do a recording of a spectrum all night and wake up the next morning and check out what I received. I'm going to do a few things for this. David Arden, the official Facebook channel. I don't know. I don't want to do competition. That's the problem. And I'm afraid of doing a little bit of competition to others. James Ryan says, "What antennas you guys are running?" 23-foot inverted V-dipole here with 50-foot leads. Mine is a 75 feet sloper, east-west direction in my backyard with a 9-to-1 balun. Josh Evangelist says, "If you need IRC service, you can contact me. I have a dedicated guy being up for the chat and a few people already in the that are knowledgeable." I'll see what exactly could be nice. I know it would be fun to have some kind of space where everybody could, do something. But I don't know. We'll check it out. Okay, let's go down here. Richard Cook's got CNR strong at 800. What else? I buy the World Radio TV handbook typically every 3 or 4 years. I don't buy that every year, honestly. Let's just check it out here. Ray Eardink, nice to have you on board from Leeds, UK. I just want to remind everybody that Saturday of next week, so tomorrow there's no show. Tomorrow's my day off, my Saturday off. Next week, Saturday, the 15th of December, special Christmas show from a undisclosed location that I'm not saying anything about. You guys are probably going to love it. I want to thank Gabriel, my nephew, for setting this up. It will be very Christmassy. And so Christmas show next Saturday. So next Friday we have our regular shortwave show. Next Friday. We'll be looking at my radios next Friday. December 14th, 2000 hours UTC. But we will have the Christmas show on Saturday, December 15th. And I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun. It'll be a short show because I do 2 shows that day. There's be a 90-minute show here. That will be the Christmas show. And once again, I want you guys to send me your Christmas stories related to radio that could be nice to talk about. And on the tech show, also on Saturday, we'll have the Christmas show. So that's why it's shorter here. It's 90 minutes. It's because on the tech show, I've not been doing any live shows on the wall. I know a lot of people are missing that, and I've got so many messages of people saying they're so happy to know that I'll be doing a live show on the tech channel. And so 20 to 21:30 will be here for the live shortwave Christmas show. And we'll take a 1-hour break. And we'll come back at 22:30 for the tech show Christmas. So, you know, you guys can just move on to the other channel and look at it if you want. You know, there won't be anything technology really related much. I think, you know, it's just we're just gonna have fun and be very Christmassy. And I hope that you guys like the place we're gonna be. It's just great, just great. Vancouver Island DXer says Facebook does not need any more shortwave groups. Just use whichever one best aligned with your intended audience for this channel. Yeah, but then at the same time, I have a very unique thing. I don't want to have everybody, you know, talking about this on somebody else's shortwave group. It's a very complicated thing. Richard Cook's got Pyongyang 9665 weak or Brazil, hard to tell. You need to know if it's Portuguese or not. And you need to know if it's on 9664.8. Joe Polu, nice to have you here. KV3LUE, nice to have you on board. Sheldon Harvey says, Jill, do you know what Radio Crystal International is? No, I don't. What is it? What is it? Radio Crystal International is. What is that? I don't know. Hirofumi Yokoyama, good morning. Nice to have you on board from Japan. Oh, I'm still not studying. I'm going to start that in January, Joe. Don't worry. I will get my ticket. I'm starting that in January. Hey, Fastload, nice to have you on board. W5KJL, nice to have you here. James Hauser, nice to have you here. Loves his ICR 8500. What is in that jar above your icon? Well, don't ask. It's an old thing that doesn't work anymore. Old thing. James Ryan, what do you use a tower? I don't have a tower. I actually have I live on this 3-story high building. So the sloper goes from one corner of the 3-story high building near the roof down to the fence that is in my backyard on the east side. And I use a broomstick where the wire ends on the broomstick that is attached to the fence. About at the lowest part, it's about I'd say about 12, 13 feet off the ground at its lowest part. So take care, my friend Sakura DX. It was nice to have you on board. It's time to board your ship. Stay safe, my friend. Always nice to have you here. So Fastload can't wait to receive his FT991A with a Comet GP3. Pretty cool. Yes, absolutely, Ray Erdink. I do have to recharge my batteries from time to time. I gotta say. I gotta recharge my batteries. Joe Paulo says, you're a star. Oh, man. Vancouver Island DXer says he's been recording the long wave spectrum for a few days because the sun has been quiet so that I can compare propagation the next time geomagnetic storm comes along. Oh, that's interesting. Reording will have to watch a recording of the Saturday show. Pity not see it live. Video killed a radio star. No, not this time, and not on this channel. This channel, it's not related. Let's go down. Sheldon, there's a station listed on 5010 from Santo Domingo. I'm on an SDR in New Jersey, and there's a Spanish signal. Sheldon, what 5010 is at this time is WRMI with Radio Argentina al Exterior in Spanish. This is what you should be hearing from the New Jersey. Because I hear a station on 5010 in Spanish right now. It's not very strong, but it's there. And I believe 5010 is WRMI in Spanish right now. Radio Argentina al Exterior. And I would, I'm pretty sure, because from 21 to 2200, that's what's listed on 5010. So I don't know. I've never heard Radio Crystal ever. Mina Opu, nice to have you here. Darkstorm, can tell you have some nice vintage ham radio equipment. The desk looks great. Thank you very much, Darkstorm. Joe Palu says, I live here in Ohio, Verdun's home, W8OVH, and we use a 82 meter off-center dipole. Cool. Glenn T. Pretzel Bites. I got some pretzel bites. Oh, this. Oh, yeah. These are peanut butter pretzel bites. If that's what you mean. They are here because I've been heating them way too much and getting a little fatter every time. Yeah, those are pretzel bites. Yeah, okay. I thought high up there. I didn't see this. Yeah, pretzel bites, absolutely. With peanut butter center. So that's what it is. Richard Cook's got Brother Staircase on 5900 kilohertz since 2000 UT. Joe Palu says we have about 10 licensed hams in one of the wings. Wow, that's nice. That's nice. Plenty, yeah, pretzel bites, absolutely. With peanut butter center. Kevin, what is VE1 TV? Nice to have you here, of course. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I got it. Now I can go on with my life. Hey, Randall Klontz. Happy birthday in advance for your birthday tomorrow. Hope you're going to have a nice one. Oh, Patrick Manning, nice to have you here. Surprise, surprise. We'll see what is going to happen on December 15th. I have an interesting idea, but I don't know if I'll be able to do it. But if I am able to do it, you guys are going to be surprised. But I don't know if I'll be able to do it. I'll have to check that out. But you guys are going to really, really find it nice. Okay? The location we have for next Saturday's show, for Christmas show, is amazing. And Gabrielle actually sent me a picture about a month and a half ago saying, hey, how about we do the Christmas show, your Christmas show, from here? And I looked at the picture and I said, oh, that would be so cool. So cool. And he said, I'm going to try to work it out, and if I can, I'm going to come back. So on Wednesday, I got a text from Gabrielle and said, hey, is it okay for Saturday, December 15th for the show? I said, yeah, sure. And I said, I tried to work out with him what the schedule could be, and if there were some things, some schedule what were the times we were allowed and so on. And he said, just tell me what times you're going to do the stuff, and we can be here for as long as we need. No sweat. So I was like, oh, okay. So I said, cool. So I rechecked with him yesterday morning, and I said, so it's all okay? I can announce the special Christmas show? He said, yeah, go ahead. So you guys are going to see. It's a very, very beautiful place to do a Christmas show from. And it's very Christmassy, I can tell you that. So it's really, really a lot of fun. And it's going to be really, really great. Let's get beer number 3. Billy Laptop, nice to have you on board. Enjoy those pretzels. Yeah, I eat too many of them. I'm eating them like, crazy. I'm going to be fat and, Richard Cook, I've not picked up North Korea at all in quite a long time, honestly. Propagation has not been that great for North Korea to hear. So I would like to. I miss the days when they were really easy to hear. I remember 11710 coming in all the time here. And they're probably not using the same power they used to. Because I'm not hearing North Korea much lately. You're watching the Shortwave Show, a little last self-promotion for those that want to do so. Of course, Patreon and PayPal if you want to help me out. Why not? Think about it. PayPal.me /shortwave. Sorry if you're hearing my typing. /shortwave, or through the Yahoo email that I'm actually posting right here. And you also have patreon.com /radio and computers if you want to join, and 11 patrons. And basically it's you can set it up so you give me a little something every month. So pretty cool. And I want to thank everybody for the donations. Much appreciated. Helps me continue with what I do. How about a little Christmas gift? Well, if you like what I do, why not? So, yes, I am hyped up, David, with the Christmas show. I can't wait. I mean, it's going to be fun. And you know what? It's going to be fun because it's always fun. I'm always doing this here. So when you have the occasion to do it from somewhere else, it's always fun. You know, when I do it from the CIDX barbecue in Greenfield Park at Sheldon's location, it's fun. It's doing it somewhere else. It's kind of nice to do it from somewhere else. Yeah, Sheldon, 5010 WRMI. I've never heard of Radio Crystal International. I don't think I've even seen a log of somebody having Radio Crystal International. For sure. Michael Nitz, what's going on with Brother Stare? I don't know. We're all waiting for him to go to jail or something. I would guess. That's pretty much what we're waiting for. Maybe I'll be doing some, shortwave shows from jail or something. I don't know. I'm not following that guy much, and every time I get on a Brother Stare frequency, I just move out. I mean, come on, it's just nuts, It's like I don't want to have anything to do with Brother Stare stuff. Man, it's kind of nuts, So I don't know. So maybe you were waiting for that to happen. And sorry here, my phone is buzzing with people trying to talk to me with different little things. Sorry. Okay, got distracted by the buzzing of my phone. So you're watching the Shortwave Show. We're at 2 hours and 52 minutes. And I gotta say, when I started this show today, I thought, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And I don't even know how long it's going to last. And 3 hours almost. Ray Kelly, live karaoke next week. No. You know what? Last year, was it last year? Last year. I don't know. Let me check. I'm just going to check something here. I'm going to check the EIBI space listing on 5010. You know what? I'm looking at 5010 from EIBI space listing. And I don't have anything on that frequency that is Radio Crystal here. What's listed here is La Rosa de Tokyo, Radio Argentina Exterior, all from WRMI, Radio Prague, Spanish. There's Air New Delhi. There's AIR from this, I won't pronounce this word of where it is from. There's Madagascar station, Madagascar, apparently on 5010, starting at 0200. Slovakia Adventist World Radio, all coming off of Okeechobee. Family Radio, Radio Miami International. There's no Radio Crystal on the list of the EIBI space. Maybe it's an old listing of something that doesn't exist anymore. Because I do watch a lot of logs of stations, and I even the stations I don't hear, I often get the hear stations from here and there and different names, and it's interesting because Radio Crystal International, I've never heard that name of a station. Maybe it's an old log of a long time ago and it's not there anymore. I don't know. Or it's something very weak. Sometimes a lot of the South American stations are listed with 1 kilowatt. And then when you actually have somebody listening to it, it's like in reality they're running 100 watts and nobody ever hears them except people from 3 kilometers away. But interesting. Shell should give us his cell phone number. Yeah, right. I'm going to put that live here. I did that mistake once by doing a video, and I'm not doing it again. I can tell you that. I had to change my phone number because of that. Richard Tribble, nice to have you on board. The software on my monitor is SDR Uno, and it's running a SDR Play RSP1A software-defined receiver. A Christmas gift from Simon Templar. And of course, another Christmas gift is the Yaesu T450 from Jack and 9IIF. I want to thank so much. You guys are great. These are my Christmas gifts, pretty much, this year. Really a lot of fun. So this is SDR Uno running here. Richard says, Voice of Korea, signing off in Spanish 7570. Dial is Jill. Dial is Jill. The only thing that I like from Brother Stairs one is that moaning session, because I think it would make a great Halloween theme. I mean, put the moaning sessions, really powerful amplifier on Halloween night. That's going to scare the hell out of any children. Capital City and Professional says, how do I find out when the NOAA weather satellite makes a pass over my location? I'm trying to download weather imaging from 15, 18, and 19. Go to n2yo.com. And there you can actually have your location automatically taken. It depends what you're using. If you have an Android phone or even an iPhone, there are apps. You have these apps use your location, like the Heavens Above app. And that will let you know when a satellite is over your area, honestly. Or you can use, software on your PC. Oh, really? 3766 Iceland. That is actually very exceptional. 3766. Whoops. Lower sideband. Man, that Spanish guy, that Spanish ham in Barcelona, EA3JE or something, he was so powerful on 80 meters the other night. It was just crazy. So 3766 lower sideband, ham from Iceland, and the call sign TF3T, Tango Foxtrot 3 Tango. Now that is cool DX. I'm not hearing anything, but it's always fun to try that. Keegan says, I've heard it on 4850 sometimes, but I only listen to 4840, mostly for mentions of other stations with various formats. they're definitely trying to contact because there's a guy that just gave it. I'm not hearing the station, unfortunately. Somebody just made a contact, but I'm not hearing it. I don't like SDR console, Richard. I really don't like the SDR console software. William Moser, nice to have you here. Christmas show in Maui. I wish that would like. I would do a Christmas show in Maui anytime. Just send me the donation so I can pay for the tickets and everything, and I'll be there. Pip on 3756 says Richard Cook. 1-900 Jill. You know, I should have like a 1-900 number. It's like, okay, please enter the frequency of the station you're listening to. What language is the frequency that you are listening to? And then you have instant response. This is WRMI from Okeechobee, Florida. Thanks for your call. It will cost you $5.99. That's kind of expensive just to know what station you're listening to. There's a Victor Echo 3 station, not hearing it. I'm having probably too much noise, unfortunately. Yeah, Tony Perron. At 85, Brother Stairs programs could end any day, absolutely. Bobby Burgess is hearing Radio Exterior de España in English on 9690. Not 6960 as he says, but it's 9690. I'll try it, but I haven't heard Spain much. It's very weak. It's there. Spain is in English. Radio Exterior de España. English language, 9690 kilohertz. Coming in. Not very strong, but it's there definitely. Jeffrey Kropp, nice to have you on board from New Hampshire. Pretty cool to have everybody here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Richard says Spain not making it on 9690. Vianney says EA3JE from Barcelona. Lou, yeah, absolutely. That guy, I mean, even on 80 meters. I have a hard time listening to any ham radio operators from Europe on 80 meters. And that guy was coming in so strong, totally nuts. Glenn T says, Brother Starin is Crying Towel Band. Brad Wayne says, Brother Stair said the world would be ending back in the 90s, and he's still here, and people still listen to him. You know, it's crazy. You know, it's like that guy, what was the name of that pastor that was on WYFR? He was kind of the, you know, before Brother Stair, that guy was the one we heard everywhere. He was on WYFR. And what actually helped in the demise of WYFR is the last time that he said that the world was coming to an end on a specific date, which of course didn't happen. But he had done that in the past a couple of times. But this time around, it kind of killed Family Radio WYFR. I mean, come on. God talk to me and let me know when the end of the world is there. Yeah, right. Right. Okay, can you have movie fun? And Seinfeld. Please tell me what show you're going to watch. Press 1 for, you know, this theater, 2 for this theater, but the guy's listening, so he doesn't know what you're pressing. Why don't you tell me what movie you're watching? that was a fun moment. I love Seinfeld. I miss that. Seinfeld was really, really good. Really good. Richard Tribble says, okay, but if you had console with the built-in database, you could already which station is on. Oh, it's the same thing. I already would know here on the SDR Uno. It has the same thing. You can I imported it because here I didn't import it, but in my laptop I imported the EIBI space CSV file, so it does it automatically on SDR Uno also, and it does have it on SDR Uno also. Absolutely, Richard. Like I always say, it's a personal thing, you know. Some like more specific software more than others. Take care, Sheldon. See you on Sunday morning. Absolutely, Sheldon. We'll be there. No problems. W5KJL says sell T-shirts. Yes, I know. I need to. Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll have something at some point. Ray Kelly, 9690 is 20 over in Nova Scotia, Canada. Raptor David says EA3JE Lou from the vicinities of Barcelona is definitely not in the city itself, and despite his own claims that he uses a Yagi stack of 6 over 6 over 6, I've never seen such a big setup over here. It's just nuts. It's just nuts, absolutely. SWL60N, Eliniki, Radiofornia from Greece, 9420 kilohertz. Take care, Scott Collier. Nice to have you on board. W5KJL says, vote for Shell. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Man. Yeah, I know I need to sell T-shirts. Absolutely. I absolutely need to check for a design and check for stuff. I need to sell merchandise, actually. All sorts of things. T-shirts, mugs, and stuff. It's something that's been hanging around, but I've been busy, and there's a lot of things I don't have. You know, I need to sit down seriously and look at them, for sure. Josh Evangelo says 9690 is clear in Chesapeake, Virginia. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And let me check that out here. If everything's all right. Yeah. So, hey guys, I've been on for 3 hours and 10 minutes. Starting to get a little tired. And kind of in the meantime moment. I will try to buzzer, Richard, just for fun of it. Buzzer on, okay, let's check it out. 4625, the buzzer. On upper sideband. Not hearing the buzzer, 4625. So I'm going to if I buy one of the t-shirts, just got the feeling of being a member of something I love. Yeah, I totally understand that. We'll be checking it. We'll be checking it for sure. So yeah, I'm gonna take it easy for the rest of the evening. I hope you enjoyed the show today, and we'll be checking that out. I'll be seriously checking for a t-shirt, several types of t-shirts that I could and merchandise. A lot of people have been asking me for that, and I really need to take time to look at it for sure. Hey, Jerome White, KI6TLK, nice to have you here. So take care, my friends. Next show is Friday, December 14th, 2000 hours Universal Time. And don't forget, for our Christmas show, Saturday, December 15th. You guys are going to have fun. I hope you're going to enjoy the location we have. I think it's going to be really, really cool. And that's Saturday, December 15th, 2000 hours UTC. Take care, my friends. Always nice to have you on board. Yes, David, we need to have our tickets and have a nice chat on HF with our radios for sure. Take care, my friends. Love you all. See you next week. Take care. Richard says Turkey on 5960. Let's just take a peek before I go. 5960 is Voice of Turkey. And here we go. Pretty good signal. Voice of Turkey, 5960.
When this process was underway, Saudi conference
Sells C-size cells in 6-packs. Take care, my friends. Stay safe. Voice of Turkey, 5960, really good signal.
moved on to democratically governed Tunisia, where he met large crowds of protesters and Kurds who had banners holding the conference responsible for the murder of Khashoggi.
Stay safe, my friends. Hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week. Bye-bye now. We'll be fading out. Take care.